Do you think winning this was big? Wait until you see tonight's game. Are you ready for some football?
The Minnesota Vikings have never won a Super Bowl. They have spent 33 seasons trying to fit together the pieces to the puzzle of assembling a championship team. Warren Moon had 10 prolific seasons with the Houston Oilers, but the big one has always eluded him. Now he is headed north, and he is wearing the jersey of the Minnesota Vikings. And at the age of 37, it's a new beginning for Warren Moon.
The Vikings sold me on the fact that this was the place where I should finish my career. This was the place where I had a great opportunity to win a championship.
The Vikings feel the final solution may be close at hand. Moon's first 5 games with his new team has given Minnesota every reason to believe that he may be the final piece to the puzzle. And for Warren Moon, something is still missing, and he wants it badly.
I think the challenge that keeps me going is the Super Bowl. Having an opportunity to play and win a Super Bowl is my only motivation right now. Once I've done that, I can say I've done everything that I set out to do playing professional football.
It will be an emotional New York crowd as Lawrence Taylor's jersey is retired at halftime. When the Minnesota Vikings meet the New York Giants on ABC's Monday Night Football.
Well, it's Monday night and we're ready to rock. Time to catch all the hits, the bangs, and the blocks. It's a playoff rematch from last year. The Vikes and the Giants meet right here. We gotta get ready. We gotta get right. Monday Night Football's coming on tonight. So get ready. I mean, get ready. Are you ready for some football? A Monday night party. We got Frank and Al and Dan. They're gonna get it kick-started. Lynn and the crew's all set. The crowd is tight. 'Cause all my rowdy friends are back for Monday night.
Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey on a cool, crystal clear October evening. And just across the Hudson River, one of the most familiar landmarks in the entire world, the Empire State Building. And tonight, a sellout crowd on hand, 76,000 plus at Giant Stadium, as the New York Giants take on the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football. Hello again, everyone. Frank Gifford with Al Michaels and Dan Dierdorf. Good matchup for you tonight. 2 playoff teams from a year ago. The Vikings and the Giants, they met here last January. The Giants knocking the Vikings out of the playoffs 17-10. They'll meet again tonight on Monday Night Football. Both teams need a win tonight to stay at the top of their respective divisions. The Giants are 3-1. They need a win to stay with Dallas and Philadelphia in the NFC Eastern Division, while the Vikings need a win tonight to stay with the Bears at 4-2 in the central of the NFC. Both teams in this first year of free agency have changed considerably. The Giants will go with Dave Brown at quarterback, and the veteran Warren Moon is now the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. Al, he's 37 years old, but he's acting like a kid again.
He sure is. You know, the big question to me with the Vikings, Frank, is this a good team, a team good enough to win 9 or 10 games and get to the playoffs, or are they one of the NFL's elite teams, a team that can win 12 games and perhaps get to the Super Bowl? They think they're the latter. 2 weeks ago, they blew a 28-point lead against Miami, but had the resourcefulness to win the game 38-35. Then last week, they go to Phoenix and lose to the Arizona Cardinals, a game they feel they should have won. They're led, of course, by Warren Moon, who was with the Houston Oilers for so many successful seasons, and one of the elite receivers now in the National Football League. Chris Carter averaging better than 8 catches per game. Defensively, they were #1 in the league last year. This year, they've been a little spotty. Tonight's game will go, I think, a long way toward telling us whether the Vikings are good or elite. Dan, they're coming off a game they feel they should have won, as are the New York Giants, who think they should be 4-0. They should have beaten New Orleans last week, they feel.
Yeah, they sure think so, and they're looking for a spark, Al, and they're going to get it this week, they think, from the return of a couple players. First of all, running back Rodney Hampton, who's been out the last couple of weeks with kidney and lower back problems. Now, that's a domino effect because his return helps everybody. It helps Dave Brown, a young quarterback, needs a strong running game. It helps the offensive line with a power running game because the Vikings have a marvelous pass rush, and it'll help the O-line from tackle to tackle. Plus, on top of all that, the guy that's really helped is Dave Meggett. he doesn't have to be the guy on first and second down, and he can return to his familiar role of the third down specialist and a return man. Now, the other returning player that's going to really help the Giants tonight, you have to think it's Lawrence Taylor. On the sidelines this evening, stay with us at halftime as his number is retired. His mere presence, I'll guarantee you, will inspire the Giants tonight.
And the crowd, a big crowd, a sellout crowd as always. And before the kick, the whistle had blown. So even though Tom White,
there is no kickoff. Ball was not whistled for put in play.
He was not ready. The Minnesota Vikings and Fuad Reveiz were ready to kick off. So Reveiz gets a little practice in. Loosens up the leg and will do it again. Dennis Green, in his third year as the Vikings head coach, he has taken them to the playoffs twice, but in each instance they have lost in the first round. 2 years ago to Washington, and then last year here in East Rutherford to the Giants. You know, it's funny, you think back to fall starts a couple of years ago. It happened in the Super Bowl. I think Jerry Markbright was the referee, and we had a false start in the kickoff. So it's happened before.
A lot of electricity in this game tonight. You can feel it. Dan alluded to the fact that Lawrence Taylor really just recreated and redefined the position of linebacker. He's here. There's just a wonderful air about tonight.
Now Reveiz again, David Meggett and Thomas Lewis. Lewis, the #1 draft choice. Back to take the kick, and Meggett hauls it in at the 2-yard line. Looks for the seam, doesn't find it. Tackled up at the 21-yard line. And Dave Brown and the Giants will start from there. Ed McDaniel made the tackle. And let's take a look at Dave Brown, who was picked in the supplementary draft from Duke. The #1 quarterback after the long reign of Phil Simms. Rodney Hampton is back. Dan talked about that. Rashid, the blocking back. Sherrard and Callaway are the wideouts, and Cross is the tight end. Up front, Jumbo Elliott, William Roberts with a bad ankle, but he'll start. Brian Williams in the middle, Lance Smith, the longtime Cardinal, and Doug Riesenberg on the right side. From the 21. And they give it to Hampton immediately, so Rodney has not seen action since week 2. Gets the ball on the first play. Gain of 4. McDaniel made the tackle. The Vikes with a base 4-3 and the strength of their defense in the middle. Thomas and Randall, probably the best tackle tandem in the league. Barker and Harris on the outside. The 3 backers, Jenkins, Del Rio in the middle, and McDaniel, who's an emerging star. Parker and Dwayne Washington, a rookie, with Scott and Glenn in the secondary. It is 2nd and 6 with a double tight end set now for the Giants at the 25. And it's Brown throwing a wobbly pass intended for Howard Cross and incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 6 at the 25.
Now that's a Giant Stadium pass. Against the wind, swirling wind at Giant Stadium, and Brown doesn't throw a tight spiral. His ball perhaps will be affected much more than Warren Moon. There's no question about Cross being open. Look at that ball. It just took off on him. And maybe it's a good thing it took off, because number 58, McDaniel, was right there.
The wind today in downtown Manhattan had to be blowing at 20 or 30 miles an hour, and I'm not so sure that it's not blowing at least that pace right now here at the Meadowlands. It's brisk.
Thomas Lewis in motion out of the gun on 3rd and 6, and last week Brown went down 7 times, and Bensie Glenn comes in from his safety spot for the first sack of tonight's game. So an inauspicious beginning. The Giants suffering 7 sacks against the Saints, and here they are 3 and out.
Glenn is at the far right, and he looks like he's lined up to cover a receiver, but he'll come off the corner, and he is untouched. And that is the most difficult blitz to handle. When you have that guy split out only 2 or 3 yards from the formation, it's easy to line up on him and then come on the blitz. Nobody can read that you're coming. It's risky, but as you see, it pays big dividends.
Mike Horan to kick, and the kick floats in the wind, comes to the near side, and is out of bounds in Giant territory. So a bad kick. The wind knocked it down, and Minnesota will take over on the other side of the 50-yard line. And to look at the strength of the wind, it's the direction, at least at the top of the stadium, but inside it's a whole other story.
When you have these kinds of conditions in the playoff game last January, the Giants ran the football. They ran Rodney Hampton 33 times in that game.
Moon is the quarterback. Terry Allen back from surgery. is the running back Reed and Carter the wideouts, and in a double tight end set, the rookie Andrew Jordan starts on one side, Adrian Cooper the other. Susie, McDaniel, Christie, Daphne, and Hinton, a rookie left tackle, went in the first round out of the University of California, and he's done a nice job. Moon to the air if he can get there, but everybody is covered, and he slides to a stop at the 42-yard line. Michael Brooks makes sure he stays down. And we'll take a look now at the Giants defensively. And it's a 4-3 with Taylor retired. Hamilton, Fox, Howard, and Strahan up front. Michael Brooks, the former Bronco, Widmer in the middle, and Corey Miller on the outside. And then Sparks and Raymond on the corners. Williams and Campbell are the safeties. Free agency tore the Giants apart in the secondary, and their pass defense has been weak so far this season. Second down and 8. Crashing through and almost busting up the play was Keith Hamilton. The Vikings are lucky to keep possession as Allen comes up to the ball and takes it to the 40-yard line.
Hamilton almost took the handoff. He was actually upfield past Warren Moon. Look at Hamilton, 75. Watch the penetration, and he actually swats the ball from Terry Allen just as it's being handed to him by Warren Moon. What a gaffe by the Vikings on their offensive line to allow that penetration.
Ball at the 39, third down and 4. Robert Smith is in the game. He's their third down back. Offset in the backfield. They keep him in the block, and he does his job, and it gives Moon time to find a man over the middle at the 35. It's close to a first down. He gets it into Kadre Ismail. They needed 4, and it might be close enough to measure.
Well, I'll tell you, that was a well-delivered ball into a tremendous crowd. Ishmael came down with it. Terrific concentration.
Ooh, look where they spotted the ball, Frank, all the way down to the 34. Spot. Easily a first down with the spot.
Giants on the blitz. Moon, look at that perfect spiral. Windy night, he still manages it in there, and Beeman is there defensively for the Giants, but his first down inside the 35.
Giants are confused defensively here. People running all over the joint, and Moon takes a lot of time at the line of scrimmage. At the 34-yard line, they give it to Allen, and Allen takes it to the 30 behind a McDaniel block.
Remember Dennis Green telling us last night about Warren Moon takes a lot longer at the line of scrimmage than he likes. He's used to coming up to the line and surveying the entire field when he ran the run and shoot down in Houston. And Dennis said, I want Warren to get up and run the plays quicker than he has been running them so far.
And the Giants were totally confused defensively there, but as you can see, they have not given up a touchdown on the first drive of a game since 1992. 26 regular season games. The last time they gave up a touchdown on the game's opening drive was to Dan Reeves' Broncos in 92. Second and 6. And the catch is made at the 25-yard line by Chris Carter. And Carter is out at the 24. That's close to a first down. Corey Raymond with the coverage. That's his 42nd catch of the season.
Carter off to a great year. He's one of those guys that comes into the huddle. I'm open, I'm open, I'm open. And he is always going to be the man that will tell you he's open. This time he was open. Raymond on the coverage, but his first down yardage for Chris Carter, who has been used about 10 or 11 times for first down completions. He's not only a prolific receiver, he's very effective.
Vikings opening drive after a 24-yard Mike Moran punt. They took over in Giant territory. They picked up successive first downs, and on first and 10, a little confusion, and Terry Allen takes it to the 22-yard line.
That play gained any yardage at all is a big plus for Minnesota. That was a 50% bust in the backfield. It wasn't a total bust because they still executed the handoff, but Warren Moon was either not where he's supposed to be, or Terry Allen was not where he was supposed to be. Watch Moon just open up, coming towards us. He's expecting to deliver the ball right there, and Allen didn't get there for another second, but they still picked up a couple of yards.
Allen was looking at the line of scrimmage, and there was nothing happening for him there.
Second and 8 at the 22, 5 minutes into the game, no score. Moon throws. It's a low throw, and it is not caught. Or are they going to say he did catch it?
Yeah,
he did at the 15-yard line.
That was a good changeup on the part of Warren Moon, too. He changed the play at the line of scrimmage. You saw Allen signaling the play out to his wide receivers. That's how they communicated. The changeup here, Warren Moon, it's all the weakness in the defense. Timed off perfectly. for the completion.
Well, it's a perfect run and shoot set. 4 wide receivers, a single back, no tight end. Talk about making him feel at home.
Padre Ismail with the reception. The Rockets brother. 3rd and a long one at the 15. Moon looking toward Carter, and there's his money man, and his money man has picked up another first down inside the 15 at the 13. So the Vikings with 3 successive first downs, 8:58 to go, scoreless first quarter.
That time Carter right in front of the Giants' other cornerback, Felipe Sparks, and Sparks giving him way too much room. And Sparks is a good man-to-man defender. He just gave Carter a little too much respect. Carter is 6'3". And on the other side is Jake Reed, a 6'3" receiver. They love to go to Carter when they get down near the end zone because he'll just go up and take it away from you.
Vikings dinking and dunking their way down to the 13-yard line. 1st and 10. Off the fake. Moon throws. Catch is made here by Andrew Jordan. And the rookie tight end is spilled inside the 1-yard line. That's another first down. Don't confuse him with Steve Jordan, who wore that number for so many brilliant years with Minnesota. Steve at the moment is retired. This is Andrew Jordan, a rookie from Western Carolina.
Well, the Giants have long been known for sitting back in a zone coverage. They want you to catch the ball in front of them, and then they come up and make the play. But they can't be giving this much cushion, especially to the tight end. He's not contested until he gets to the 2-yard line by Raymond, and by then, the damage has long been done. 1st and goal here for the Vikings, and a very impressive opening drive.
1st and goal.
Whoa!
And it's a fumble! And at the 5-yard line, the Giants have recovered.
That first drive statistic stays alive, Al.
Jesse Campbell, the safety, with the recovery.
The second time this drive that there was a mistake in the Viking backfield between Warren Moon and his running back. That was a botched handoff once again. They got lucky the first time. They didn't get lucky this time. He fakes the ball to Randall McDaniel, who's in at fullback, and then the ball pops out. The Giants come up big here in the 1st. First of all, I think Warren Moon is actually trying to give the ball to Randall McDaniel. And McDaniel doesn't want it. He doesn't think he's carrying it. Watch Strahan, 92 there from the left. He knocks Warren Moon off of the football, allowing his teammate to recover it. That's a heads-up play. Campbell ends up with the ball, but credit Strahan with going after Moon, the only Viking who had a shot at the ball, picking him off the ball, allowing Campbell to recover it. Heads-up play there by Strahan, but a major error by the Vikings.
That was a 10-play drive that came to a crashing halt, and now Rodney Hampton picks up a couple. Another guy who should get a big assist on that drive is Corey Raymond, the cornerback, who made that touchdown-saving tackle on Andrew Jordan inside the 1.
Good point. That's what coaches harp on you all the time. You never know when your play might be the one that turns it around. And there you think it's a foregone conclusion they're going to get points. Well, not so.
2nd and 8 at the 6, 7:10 to go in the opening quarter. Nothing. And Brown gives it to Hampton. Rodney swings to the outside, but can't spring free. Dwayne Washington, rookie, #1 draft choice out of North Carolina State, along with Vinci Glenn, converged to stop him.
Don't spike the ball, Rodney. That's a sore subject here in New York. The Giants last week, Chris Callaway spikes the ball after a long completion and gets flagged for taunting. I think there was a little bit of a groan here in Giants Stadium when they saw Hampton spike the ball in frustration. There's Callaway, the former Wolverine.
Big play right now for the Giants. They do not want to have to punt from their own end zone against that wind.
3rd and 7. Horan's last punt was 24 yards, and the catch is not made. It is incomplete, and they will have to punt from the end zone. David Meggett, the intended receiver, couldn't hang on. So the Giants without a first down. Dan Reeves fired in Denver after a dozen seasons over here last year, leading the club to an 11-5 mark. And the Giants again, in the estimation of many, overachieving, because this appeared to be about a 500 club.
And Reeves was rewarded as a consensus choice for Coach of the Year in the National Football League. Nobody could argue with that.
The kick to the receivers for the Vikings are lined up at the Giants' 40-yard line.
Boy, another bad kick.
A fair catch at the 36, Anthony Parker. So the line of scrimmage was the 9. The crowd boos a 28-yard effort on top of a 24-yarder by Haran. 6:17 left in the first. A little more airtime for Dennis Franz, who did our Are You Ready? He and David Caruso heading up the cast NYPD Blue tomorrow, filling out a great night, great lineup on ABC. And then Thunder Alley All-American girl Roseanne and Ellen coming your way Wednesday in primetime on ABC. Vikings at the 36 on first down, and Terry Allen goes next to nowhere. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Warren Moon, he was charged with 2 fumbles on that first drive. Dave Craig now with Detroit, the NFL record, and Warren is right there, 2 behind. Dan Fouts ended his career with 106 career fumbles.
And Warren was able to pull it off in 11 years. They've been around about, what, 15? Yeah.
That's one of those things where if you're at the top, you have to be a pretty good player to last that long and fumble that much.
I know one thing, Craig has been lugging that thing around for a long time and has gotten a little thin-skinned about it and wouldn't mind relinquishing that ground to Warren Moon.
2nd down and 9 as Warren Moon throws, and the catch is made at the 23-yard line by Jake Reed, an emerging star in the estimation of the Vikings. John Booty makes the tackle. They felt Anthony Carter was expendable. He signed with Detroit, and Reed is filling that role this season.
Another big one, 6'3", 217 pounds. These are big targets, and I can tell you how quarterbacks love them. He goes down, concentrates on the ball, and he is somebody that they are planning on having big things from. He was hurt much of last year, but he's healthy, and he is a good one.
No score, 5 minutes to go in the quarter. Draw, Terry Allen takes it inside the 20 to the 18. Carlton Bailey makes the stop. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Coca-Cola Classic, the official soft drink of the NFL. Mercedes-Benz, where safety, reliability, performance, and value are never optional. And Budweiser, Beechwood aged for a crisp, clean, classic taste.
This is a crisp, clean, classic night for football. If it wasn't for the wind, temperature-wise, it's just perfect for the players.
2nd down and 6. Robert Smith is in the backfield. He's offset at the 19-yard line. And Moon gets dumped by Mike Fox back at the 26-yard line.
Oh, he puts an outside move on Bernard Daphne, the right guard. And Warren Moon saw him coming and was able to tuck the ball away, but Mike Fox from West Virginia, just a good outside rush. There he is, working on number 75, and boy, he just got around him to the outside really quickly for a defensive tackle. Moon didn't have a chance to step up. And when you're going around Daphne, that's a pretty good trip. He's a good 330 pounds. Doing some serious circumnavigating.
7-yard sack, 3rd and 13 at the 25-yard line. Moon with his deepest drop and his longest throw, and it's too long, much too long. Kadre Ismail running a post, incomplete, and he was open. He'd beaten the secondary. He'd gotten behind Sparks.
He had a deep man in the zone, the Giant zone that Dan talked about a moment ago. They love to play it down here, and Sparks was staying right with him, top of your screen, but you notice deep will be Jarvis Williams, and this is the one that was concerning Warren Moon. It would have to been an awfully good throw by Warren Moon for a completion.
So now a 44-yard field goal attempt. Fuad Reves, Mike Saxon to hold to try to give Minnesota the lead. The wind is swirling, but the kick is straight and true. Tom White signals 3, and the Minnesota Vikings take the lead.
And to be down 3-0 right now, if you're the New York Giants, you got to be pretty pleased. You've dodged a couple large bullets.
Soon comes the win.
Lawrence Taylor, a Giant since '81, now in retirement, now playing a lot of golf, and to be honored tonight at halftime. And this place will no doubt go wild, and we'll bring you a good part of that ceremony. LT, the banners adorning Giant Stadium.
Yeah, it will be quite a happening. These are, as far as I'm concerned, the greatest fans in this game. The tickets have been handed down for decades. They love their Giants, and specifically tonight, they're going to see an unbelievable outpouring of that love for Lawrence Taylor, who, as I said earlier, just totally redefined the position of linebacker. In fact, the Giants has changed their defense. When he retired, they've gone to a 4-3.
Lots of 56s in this crowd of about 75,000. Revenge to kick off. This is Thomas Lewis. He's the Giants' #1 draft choice, the rookie from Indiana. And Lewis, who had 2 good punt returns in New Orleans last week with a beauty on a kickoff, one back tonight to the 44-yard line, tackled by Chris Wall. For the Giants near midfield, 37-yard run back. 3:30 to go, opening quarter, 3-0 Minnesota.
Welcome to another Monday Night Football 25th anniversary moment brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It's just plain smart to fly Southwest, the low-fare airline. In 1993, the Giants earned an NFL record 23rd playoff berth when Dave Meggett's punt return clinched a victory over the Saints.
45-yard kick, and Meggett turns the corner, gets into Saints territory. Goodbye. And Dave Meggett down the sideline, all the way, touchdown.
Circled guy is Dave Garnett. Watch one of his teammates come across and clip him right on the ankle. Take a look at that right there. Garnett was down on the field for a couple of minutes. He's made it over to the Vikings bench, and they're taking a look at his lower leg right now.
Now the Giants have it at the 44, seeking their first down, and Rodney Hampton probes the middle of the line, and that's not normally a very good idea. McDaniel is there, the linebacker, to make the stop, but with Randall and Thomas in the middle, Vikings are very tough to run on inside.
And it puts the Giants in a tough position when they can only get 1 or 2 or 3 on that first down. It puts their young quarterback in a rather vulnerable position. They don't like to wait a third and long and throw the ball. The Giants would like to be ripping off 5 and 6 on that first down, and that's what they did in the playoff game back in January. They're not doing so tonight.
This whole quarter has been played on the left side of the 50-yard line. Gary Downs is in the game. Rookie out of North Carolina State in a running back spot, and Brown's throw is a beauty to the Viking 44-yard line. Mike Sherrard makes the catch, and that is New York's initial first down. Anthony Parker with the stop.
Both teams almost look alike in their zone defense. Mike Sherrard, he can find those openings in the zone as well as any wide receiver around. And what a remarkable career for Mike Sherrard. Coming back from a couple of broken legs, missed 2 full seasons, and that time a tight spiral on the part of that pass. Dave Brown drilling it into Mike Sherrard.
Aaron Pierce lines up in the backfield along with Hampton. Fake to Rodney. Brown throws a flutter ball that is caught at the 33-yard line. Bensie Glenn really delivered a shot to the quarterback Brown, but the pass was complete, and the Giants have another first down.
Well, I'll tell you, the young quarterback shows you something there. He has Bensie Glenn right in his face, off balance. See, this is strictly all arm. Falling away, he was able to get that ball out and make the completion. That was a tremendous show of strength on the part of the quarterback, Dave Brown.
That was a world-class throw. You're right, Frank. Unfortunately, you're not going to do that very many times in this league and survive it. You can't be taking those kind of shots, but quality play by Brown.
Brown, good protection this time, looks for Cross and had him at the 13-yard line, and it's off his hands.
Boy, that's what the zone will give you, and the one thing the Minnesota Vikings defensive backs trained under Tony Dungy, a former defensive back himself, will do, they will unload on you after you catch the ball. You can find the gaps, you can find the openings, and then they are drilled, they work on it, they come in with the hit. Cross off his fingertips before he was even hit. But Anthony Parker there to put the lick on Cross. One that should have been caught.
1:44 to go in the quarter, 3-0 Minnesota. 2nd and 10 at the 33. On a delay, Hampton swings to the outside, and Rodney still can't get on track. Todd Scott up from the secondary to stop him.
There is Tony Dungy, the defensive coordinator for the Vikings, who you just get that feeling that it's inevitable. Sooner or later, he is going to be a head coach in the National Football League.
Both these defensive coordinators tonight. You talk to Dan Reeves about his defensive quarterback, Mike Nolan. They both say, yeah, they can be head coaches.
Dave Brown in these situations has been sacked 12 times on 41 third down plays. 3rd and 10. This time he gets it away. Sherrard makes the catch at the 20-yard line.
Oh, Really good stuff in front of the rookie, Dwayne Washington.
First down.
Sherrard on the drive. Washington respecting his ability to go on a flag move. He breaks it off. Now watch him drag the right foot, getting both down inbounds. Good move by Sherrard and well delivered again by Dave Brown.
Final minute of the quarter, 3-0 Vikings. First down, New York at the 20-yard line. Brown, a short drop. The flutter ball is caught by Cross to the 9-yard line. With this win, you won't see many spirals, certainly very few perfect spirals. That one looked like a field goal, but it was very effective. First and goal.
Boy, what a lift it would be for the Giants if they can score in this first quarter, having held the Vikings to 3 with the Vikings in their territory, most of it. If they can score against the win in this first quarter, it would be quite a lift. And Cross this time concentrates, holds on to the football, and gets inside the 10.
And the Giants do not have to run a play. They'll let the quarter expire, take it down to the other end. And that's the end of the first quarter at Giant Stadium. Vikings 3, Giants nothing. And back we come with Monday Night Football after this from our ABC station. Radio City would be up here. The shot provided from the Stars and Stripes, the Goodyear blimp from Pompano Beach, Florida. That's the Empire State Building on the right, the Chrysler Building on the left. Stars and Stripes hovering above Giant Stadium. Filled to capacity as always. We start the second quarter. Vikings on top, 3-zip, and the Giants first and goal at the Minnesota 9-yard line. Rodney Hampton takes the toss and gets about halfway home. Takes it to the 5-yard line. Jack Del Rio makes the tackle. Del Rio's been around a long time. Jack Del Rio played with Dallas. Vikings picked him up when Plan B was still in effect a couple of years back, and he's been a beauty for them.
Well, the Vikings at the time were in a desperate need of a middle linebacker, and the thought of getting a guy like Del Rio for nothing coming in as a Plan B guy, and he has been rock steady for them in the middle ever since.
Second and goal from the 5-yard line. Hanson probes the middle. No, sir. Wrestled down by Henry Thomas in his 8th year out of LSU.
Brown has been very effective throwing the football, but it's got to be getting to the point where it's got to be a concern for Dan Reeves that they are struggling to run the ball between the tackles. It's a quick Viking defensive line, but they're small. They are really undersized, and the Giants, I know, feel that they can root them off the line of scrimmage, and so far they have been struggling to do it. They've been moving the ball, but it's been Dave Brown's passing that's been getting it done.
Third and goal, as you see, the Giants have been perfect. Once they're inside the 10, they've scored every time this year. Not now, not even close.
Well, he just threw that away. That's good coverage on the part of the Vikings. Fine coverage, and Dave Brown, rather than risk the sack, couldn't hold it any longer. He just threw it away. Good protection, a lot of time, just fine coverage by the Vikes.
But as you well know, Frank, over the years, that's the part of the field that the Giants just slam it at you. They get that extra tight end in the game. Their big offensive line, big back in Hampton. Boom, boom, boom. They run it into the end zone.
This is a 22-yard chip shot for David Treadwell. Ken Graham puts it down, and the kick is good. So the first time this season, the Giants do not score a touchdown when they get inside the 10, but they do get 3, and they're even with Minnesota.
That ball sounded like it got hit by somebody.
Looked like it did. Little thrill there.
Look in the area of my little squiggly there. The kick is going to be blocked by Roosevelt Nix. Watch his fingers move. They get flicked right there as the ball just grazes by. Nonetheless, it's good. He's got the dark glove short of the 2 white ones that are up in the air. He alters the direction of the ball just enough to let us know that he hit it, but not enough to keep it from being good.
13:36 to go in the half. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Dierdorf at Giant Stadium. Galoiso's line drive kick. Ismail will take a knee in the end zone for the touchback, and the Vikings will start from the 20. 13:28 left in the half. A 3-3 ball game. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for a crisp, clean, classic taste. Cadillac and your Cadillac dealer creating a higher standard. And Alamo. There are over 4 million miles of roads in Alamo territory, and with Alamo, all those miles are free. Well, next week,
I thought
pre-Halloween.
Yeah, that's not till the 31st.
Yeah, right.
It's a rare night. They're letting banners in Giants Stadium. They never do that.
Next week we go to Denver. The Chiefs, all of a sudden, they can't score against the Denver Broncos, Montana, and Elway.
And all of a sudden they won.
Yeah. Denver knocking off Seattle. Moon, first down from the 20. Steps away from pressure. It's Terry Allen, and that's a first down. It's a 13-yard gain to the 33, forced out by Corey Raymond, but a marker is down. A flag is down. Tom White is the referee.
Good pressure from Mike Fox. The call is going to go against the Vikings. Warren Moon stepped up to avoid the pressure, picked up the receiver, and got a good delivery, but they're going to bring it back.
Randall McDaniel is carrying the flag. He picked it up, and he's sauntering back towards the Viking, trying to find somebody to throw it to.
Yeah,
Pass interference. Number 87 offense. 10 yards. Still first down.
I think Randall stole their flag. He hasn't given it back to anybody yet. Well, Terry just flicks it on the ground.
Adrian Cooper creating a penalty, and there goes a first down and a 1st and 20 at the 10 now. 3-3 tie, early second quarter. Fake to Allen, and the pass is too far in front of Andrew Jordan. It'll be 2nd and 20.
Oh, and he was open, and that would have been a big sprint close to another first down for the Vikings. That was just a poorly thrown ball by Warren Moon. You will not see him miss a man that open very often. Something that you pick up when you look at the video over the course of a week. Man wide open, something unique to the Giants coverage in this given situation, and Warren Moon is just sick about it because he probably will not get it again tonight.
A lot of years throwing in a dome. This is very undome-like conditions here tonight with the wind.
2nd and 20, and they try to pick up a little bit of it on the ground with Robert Smith, who's a 3rd down back and long yardage back. Stacy Dillard makes the stop, a pickup of 3, 3rd and 17.
Well, now the Vikings are really in a precarious position. Backed up like this, the wind is not their friend going this direction, and faced with a 3rd and 17. A lot of options Mike Nolan can deploy on behalf of the Giants, and the odds here certainly favor a Giant big play.
3rd and 17. And they line up the split backs behind Moon. And Warren guns one, and a great catch is made by Ismail up at the 36-yard line. Terrific catch by Rocket's younger brother.
And a good read by Warren Moon. They were doubling up on Chris Carter. Ismail wide open with the single coverage. They have to respect his speed, getting the coverage from Philippi Sparks. They put Sparks in a man-for-man situation quite often, and Ismail breaks away from him. Moon right on target. Good execution.
Great catch. 23-yard pickup. First down up at the 36-yard line. Right through the middle. Terry Allen. Let's take a look. That catch is worth another look. That was a beauty.
Well, Frank, you hit the nail on the head when you're talking about they got the safeties, but the safeties were playing the middle of the field. It's just one-on-one, and Ismail, look at that. Just there's one of those deals where you got to think that the receiver's wearing gloves. The gloves were a help, because that was really just grasping the ball with nothing but the fingertips and still able to control it. Beautiful work by Ismail.
2nd and 8 from the 37. Moon on the roll, and the open man is the tight end. That's Adrian Cooper up to the 44, the former Steeler, tackled by Sparks. It'll set up a 3rd and short 2.
Well-designed play. Cooper just coming off the line of scrimmage, and Sparks had to give up his man Ishmael and come back and make the stop. And they were trying to cover the tight end Cooper with Michael Brooks.
270-pound tight end.
Ooh, what?
Where is this game headed?
6-5.
Third and a short 2, 10 and a half to go in the half. A 3-3 tie. And Robert Smith is stopped short of the first down. Coleman Rudolph, picked up on waivers from the Jets, is the first to get a hand on him, and it's 4th down.
Neither one of these ball clubs showing much in the way of a running game. They're both struggling to control the line of scrimmage. The best work on the line of scrimmage is being done by each team's defensive lines.
The Vikings, Dan, last week against Arizona, they had a club low of, what, 16 yards rushing, or rather 18 yards rushing against Arizona?
Well, Terry Allen had 18 yards on a dozen carries. And keep in mind, he got 13 yards on 1 carry.
Here's Mike Jackson.
They have been struggling.
Meggett fields it at the 14 and gets an initial block that enables him to bring it back 10 yards out to the 24. So 9:35 remaining in the first half. 3-3. College football Saturday. Those of you in the Eastern and Central time zones will see one of those 3 games early.
And then
the whole country sees that game at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. A beauty, Penn State, Michigan. Then on the West Coast, you'll see SC Stanford as the second half of the doubleheader. Great college football action on Saturday. We'll see if you're singing though we'll see if you're singing next Monday. It's going to be a tremendous game.
either way, you know it's going to be a classic.
Here is Brown off the fake, going deep, and it's nearly intercepted because it floated. Thomas Lewis, the intended receiver, and Anthony Parker back there with the coverage, but the ball hung up.
Well, they said they wanted to get Thomas Lewis, their #1 draft pick, from Indiana into this game. Let's take a look at it. Pretty good coverage over there on the part of Anthony Parker. It would have had to have been a perfect throw. It was almost that. But Parker could well have intercepted that. He should have.
That ball, if it's thrown more to the middle of the field, there's no way Parker gets back into it. You can see Lewis is having to run back towards the sidelines to make that play on the ball.
2nd and 10. Rodney Hampton picks up about 5. Okay, Frank, the Giants are your club and have been for years. Everybody talking about Phil Simms and a forced retirement in a way, a salary cap victim and all of that. What do you think of Dave Brown thus far this season?
I think Dave Brown has shown a tremendous amount of potential and also skill. I mean, I think maybe one of his defining moments was last week when he threw an interception. They ran it back for a touchdown against New Orleans. They lost the lead. They never won the game, but he came back and he was completely poised, a young man, for the rest of the game. And I think that meant a lot to Dan Reeves and the Giants organization. They think they have the quarterback for a long run.
3rd and 4, and it's crossed. The tight end converting, takes it out to the 48-yard line, and a first down for Dan Reeves' Giants.
I tell you what Dan did I thought was really smart is that he had the competition between Graham and Brown that was going to last the entire preseason. And it was after only 2 games that he made up his mind that Dave Brown was going to be the guy and said, well, I'm going to appoint him the #1 guy now and give him the balance of the preseason, their last 3 games, to hone his skills a little bit. And I think it's something that has really borne some fruit for the New York Giants.
Look at Cam Graham, both of them about the same size, 6'5", and it's about around 230.
Brown on first down. That's tipped in the air. It is intercepted by Bensie Glenn at the 40-yard line. Brings it back to the 47. And the Minnesota Vikings take over as Jack Del Rio got a hand on it. And I believe there was a flag thrown after the play. Yep.
There's one thing that young quarterbacks tend to do, and veteran linebackers will pick it off every time. He looked off, and then he came back and looked too long at the intended receiver, and Del Rio stepped in front of it, knocks it in the air. Glenn comes down with it. The Vikings get the turnover.
Joe Montana and the Chiefs are in the division hunt, but beware of John Elway's mile-high magic. Kansas City meets Denver next week on ABC's Monday Night Football.
Dave Brown, his eyes getting hung up on the receiver. Sherrard, just a fraction of a second too long, and the veteran Jack Del Rio was reading him all the way, reading his eyes, knocked it in the air. Glenn came down with the interception.
There was no flag, though the crowd thought there should have been, because when Glenn got up, he mini-spiked the ball, you might say. And that's a sensitive issue here in New York after the Callaway call last week. Terry Allen goes nowhere. Eric Howard dropping him for the loss. And Coleman Rudolph helping out as well.
Eric Howard has probably been playing the steadiest of all the Giant defensive linemen, and that time very effective, just driving towards the football, and the key to it, making the play in the Vikings backfield. Again, both teams struggling with their running game. There's Howard, number 74, works Christie upfield and makes the play in the backfield. Some help from Rudolph. Strong work inside by the Giants. 2nd and 11 from the 46. The game tied at 3. Moon fires a beautiful pass and catch by Chris Carter at the 33. You have 4 blue shirts surrounding him. The pass is right there, and Carter with a 21-yard reception.
Again, Carter with a good read on the zone, and as you said, Al, perfect delivery by Warren Moon, and every now and then you just have to marvel at the ability of Warren Moon to go over his blockers, the on-rushing Giants in the pass rush, in between defenders, beautifully executed. Sometimes it's really obvious why he's thrown for over 55,000 yards in both Canada and here in the States.
And this pass is dropped at the 28 by Adrian Cooper. It'll be 2nd down. Coverage by Carlton Bailey.
Kind of a rocky start for Cooper. He's made a catch, but really has dropped a couple extremely catchable balls and looks shaky doing it. Warren Moon's going to start looking elsewhere if Adrian Cooper doesn't start handling the ball with a little more regularity. Big target, too, 6'5", former Pittsburgh Steeler that played behind Eric Green, at least in their pass offense, but he's a fine blocker. 6'5", 270 in the second biggest tight end.
2nd and 10. Moon to Allen over the middle. Breaks a tackle at the 25. Terry Allen inside the 10 and out of bounds at the 3-yard line. He broke a tackle, an attempted tackle by Tito Wooten, and then is forced down by Randolph. It'll be 1st and goal.
Wooten, the rookie from Northeast Louisiana, and he's going to go back to the sidelines. He'll have to look Dan Reeves in the eye for this. Just did not finish it. That might have worked at Northeast Louisiana. It will not work against Terry Allen.
You'll be getting letters from Northeast Louisiana now.
Well,
you're right.
This is a tackle that should have been made, and he just gave up on it.
1st and goal, just outside the 2, and there's a flag down. There's no play. The play was whistled dead before its inception. And then Miller starts to shove Frank Cornish.
I think we've got a false start. Might be Randall, might have been whoever's at the left guard. Randall McDaniel moves into the backfield down here.
False start. Number 63 offense. 5 yards, moving prior to the snap. Still 1st down.
Frank Cornish comes in and replaces McDaniel at left guard. As take a look at him right there to the left of Warren Moon, and way up out of his stance as he's going to pull and get out in front. Remember the last time they were down here on the goal line, Warren Moon tried to give the ball to Randall McDaniel.
And the screen was removing temptation.
Yes. If he does it this time, there'll be a flag. McDaniel in his normal guard spot, and Moon throws, and it's dropped at the 5-yard line. Somehow he got it away. David Palmer, the rookie, the intended receiver. Michael Strahan forcing the issue, getting into the Viking backfield.
You know, the minute he threw that, Frank, that had the look of a pass that gets returned 95 yards for a touchdown.
I think Warren felt that, too. I don't know. He's got these 2 big guys on the outside. Chris Carter is the guy you would think that he would want to go to. The 6'3" Chris Carter, on the other side is a 6'3" Jake Reed. And you're going to the little man.
6 minutes to go in the half. Game tied at 3. 2nd and goal from the 7. Allen, big hole, and no signal yet.
Boy, what a fine call that was. Oh, Giants taking total pass. The defensive line in a pass rush mode. You come with the draw.
Todd Stussy led the way. He's a little short of the goal line. 3rd down and a millimeter. And
like
Lawrence Taylor, yes, he does, with the turtleneck and the earring, and LT getting ready for halftime ceremonies here, and this place will erupt.
We got somebody down on the field. We've got an injured player down on the field back in the end zone. Let's see how close Terry Allen comes to getting in. They spotted it just a skosh short. And a good call by the officials. He didn't get in.
3rd and a skosh. It is 3rd and goal. Minnesota inside the 1. McDaniel lines up as the blocking back. Allen is the tailback. Allen behind McDaniel, and he's able to angle himself in for the touchdown. Terry Allen into the end zone, and the Vikings have the lead with 5.5 minutes to go in the half. Jeff Christie, the center, with a nice block.
Notice how Warren Moon did a lot better job of keeping that ball away from Randall McDaniel.
And of course, following an interception at midfield, a good drive by the Vikings. They have to feel good about this. We talked about the Giants. If they had their scoring drive against the win, even though they kicked it at the beginning of this quarter. And anytime you put points on the board going against the kind of win we have tonight, you have to feel good about it here at Giant Stadium.
Reves for the point after. Now, a touchdown is also scored as a first down. That is the first rushing first down of the game, and the 14th overall. 10-3 Minnesota.
And both of them are trying to run. A magical moment coming up at halftime. You know, Alan, Dan, I was here when Pele retired back in the late 70s, and I emceed the ceremonies for Wide World of Sports, and I ran into him the other night, and I said, will you ever forget that crowd? Well, this will be a different crowd, but believe me, they love this man, Lawrence Taylor. That was a capacity crowd, and he stood up and he started to shout love, 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 and it was indeed a magical moment, and I'm looking forward to another one.
I remember when I retired in St. Louis, there was a crowd of about 7,500 people there on a cold, snowy day. And
did you shout love, love?
Everybody
love?
had gloves on, and there was barely a sound. That's I get warm and fuzzy just thinking about it.
He went silently into the night.
It was about 7 degrees above zero. Survival was more on people's minds than my retirement.
Oh, you love to milk a dramatic moment, don't you?
It was a special moment for me.
Goodyear blimp stars and stripes. That's the Meadowlands racetrack in the background. Giant Stadium in the foreground. The Brendan Byrne Arena also close by, home of the New Jersey Devils and Nets. Sports complex, the Meadowlands. Minnesota leading at 10-3. As the Vikings scored following the interception by Vince Glenn. So they cash in off a turnover. And now Fuad Reves to kick off. And he bounces one. Little grounder down to the 20-yard line. Thomas Lewis looking for room, swings back, breaks one tackle, but not a second, and pays the price. So Lewis runs about 40 yards laterally and a net of 0.
Lewis, as Al mentioned earlier, had a couple big returns last week in their game against the Saints. And it's obvious, just watching this guy return kickoffs, he is going to break a lot of big ones during the course of his career. First of all, he's got good instincts, and secondly, the first guy doesn't get him down. There's a major league face mask right there. He puts on Walsh. That's not a way to win, friends, but it's certainly a good way to stay on your feet. The kid's going to make a couple big plays before he's done.
Hampton, he can't get on track, so neither team running the ball with any efficiency tonight. Ed McDaniel makes the tackle. Hampton bottled up again. The Giants coming into the game, and again, Rodney's been hurt most of the year. The Giants averaging 3.2 yards a rush. League average 3.8.
An offensive line that did change to some degree. Bart Oates is out in San Francisco at the free agency. Lance Smith has replaced Bob Kratz at the right side. 2 members of that 5-man line that performed so well a year ago are no longer here.
2nd and 11. They try Kenyon Rashid, and he isn't successful either. The blocking back, John Randall, is there to stop him with 4.5 to go in the half.
And in fairness, if you want to document their problems a little farther, John Elliott has got a bad ankle. He had back surgery a year ago. He broke his finger during training camp. William Roberts at left guard, he's really nursing a bad ankle. And Lance Smith, the right guard, has got a bad knee. So the continuity, they're not getting a lot of work together during practice, and it's certainly showing in the way the Giants are struggling to run.
3rd and 13 out of the shotgun. 4-man rush, pressure on Brown, steps up, slings it sidearm, dropped at the 31. flag down at the line of scrimmage. Thomas Lewis dropped it. Would have had, well, he was real close to the first.
That's a nifty piece of football by Dave Brown. Staying on the move like that, running to his left and then throwing back to his right. Very difficult for a quarterback to do, and he did it.
Offsides. Number 90. Defense.
It's a sidearm delivery to get underneath the outstretched arms of a Viking. There it is.
That's beautiful work by Brown. Now the penalty goes against the Vikings, so it's a 5-yard mark-off. Still third down for the Giants, but that, when you're analyzing a young quarterback, Frank, you got to like the looks of something like that.
I think you got to come right back to Thomas Lewis, too, the rookie #1 draft pick.
Robert Harris was the man who was offside. 3rd and 8. Brown hangs in there, throws, and that one's dropped at the 24 by David Meggett. Brown going down again, and it's 4th down, and Horan and the punting unit come in.
That one looked hot. He
had a little too much on it for little Dave.
Yeah, the minute we talked about Dave Brown and his abilities, he was a little too close to Mr. Meggett, I think, to throw one with that kind of velocity. That thing left a vapor trail on its way towards Meggett.
To his credit, it was getting a little crowded back there. Let's get rid of this sucker before I go down.
That's the kind of pass that could hurt somebody if they don't see it coming.
Mike Horan to punt.
Right here, behind.
And by far his best of the night after a couple of weak efforts. It's taken at the 36 by David Palmer, and the Alabama rookie who can play either running back or wide receiver brings it back to the 43-yard line. Tackled there by Greg Bishop, and Dan Reeves might have thought there should have been a flag on the play.
Too bad Dan doesn't get into a game. How many times have we looked at that face over the years? Face of a winning coach. Special teams coach. They all seem to be alike. They're very animated. Dan Reeves.
Well, that's because
record.
That's because special teams is so much emotion. It's pure will. It's wanting to run through blocks and throwing your body into a wedge and that type of thing. Huh?
Sprinkle a little fear in there. You got a little bit of everything going for you.
Being a good special teams player does not come easy.
Boy, just the pure physics of a couple of 250-pounders sprinting down the field in a direct collision course is kind of awesome. Dan's still trying to get something cleared up.
Kind of exciting, too. Well, it's part of the appeal of this game, let's face it.
First down at the 44-yard line. Catch is made up at the 49-yard line by Jake Reed, a little shy of the first down. Anemic rushing for each team. The Vikings averaging 1.8 and the Giants 1.7.
The only decent run of the game was that burst by Terry Allen that got the ball down to the 6-inch line. Now, critical series here for the Giants defensively. They're down by 7 points. They don't have a great catch-up offense or a catch-up quarterback. They cannot afford to fall behind by any farther than 7 points.
2nd and 5. Moon, and this one is hauled in right at the first down marker by Jake Reed.
Let's see where they spot this.
His progress had the first down. They just knocked him back. But again, that big target. And the Giants laying off these outside receivers, both Reed and Carter, in that soft zone that they play, counting on the tackle or the missed thrown or the pressure. They're not getting either one of them, and Moon is getting a completion almost any time he wants it. Here you see Reed surges ahead of the first down marker, and he's driven back, and they award him the first down.
Pretty good spot, though, putting that ball all the way up to the 45-yard line.
2:40 to go in the half. Minnesota leading at 10-3. Moon underneath to Allen, and a nice tackle made at the 40 by Michael Brooks, staying right with him. Brooks, a guy who played for Dan Reeves in Denver for many years and came over when Dan did.
One of the things a veteran quarterback like Warren Moon can do is remain patient. You must be patient when you're throwing the ball against the Giants. They sit in that soft, too-deep zone. You must have the patience to work underneath, be satisfied with 5 and 6 and 7-yard completions.
2nd and 5. Final play before the 2-minute warning is a Curry Allen slant off the right side and out of bounds at the 34, and that's a first down. Forced out by Cable. The 2-minute warning comes with 1:58 remaining to the half. Minnesota 10 and the Giants 3.
I asked Dan Reeves early in the week, would Mike Nolan make a head coach? And he didn't hesitate at all. He most certainly will. Of course, Mike's father, Dick Nolan, a former teammate of mine with the Giants, was a head coach in the NFL and has had various jobs. And their lives, the Nolan family, is revolved around this game, and this young man is very special. Dan Reeves almost let him play on his first team with the Broncos. He just missed, was in the final cut.
His defense has to dig in here. First down for the Vikings at the 34. And Warren Moon was in the grasp, and they're going to call that a sack. Strahan had him down. He got rid of the ball.
They're going to call him for grounding, too.
Yep.
You can only throw the ball away if you're outside of the pocket. Only if you're on the run outside of the pocket can you get away with dumping the football, and that is a very good call. Very good work by Strahan. There he is at the top of the screen. He's working on the rookie Stussy, jams him, then gets around. And when you're in the pocket, you're not afforded that luxury of being able to dump it away like that. Costly error by both Stussy and Moon.
Moon was insisting that 73 was wide open.
Yeah. Strahan has made a couple big plays tonight.
So the ball's at the 44. It is 2nd and 20, 152 to the half. Vikings up by 7. Terry Allen probes the middle. Next to nothing. To the 42 he goes. Jesse Armstead makes the stop.
His probe got bent on that one. There was precious little room.
Giants are going to take a timeout now with 1:38. So defensively they take a timeout with a 3rd down and 18 upcoming. .138 remaining in the first half. Minnesota on top 10-3. 3rd down, let's call it 17 at the 41-yard line. Vikings trying to at least work into field goal range for Quad Reves.
Realistically, they're going to have to get the ball down around the 25 before a field goal is reachable.
Moon throws. It's incomplete. Off the hands of David Palmer. I don't think even had he caught it and been tackled immediately, they would have been in field goal range.
That play by Strahan looms as very big, as the Vikes will have to punt.
Boy, that ball just looks like it floats on Warren because Palmer is wide open. Still appeared to be a ball that could have been caught. Would have been a good catch by Palmer, but it wasn't. It certainly wasn't uncatchable.
He's only going about 5'8", so you have to jump for most of them.
Mike Saxon receives a snap at his own 45. David Meggett is back.
Behind you, behind you.
He angles it to the far side. Oh, it's a beauty. Out of bounds it goes at the 5-yard line. Great kick by Saxon.
Boy, that is a kick against the wind. You don't see that much. You get those pooch kicks from that position in the field most of the time, but with this kind of a wind, that is a superb effort.
Well, Lawrence Taylor will have number 56 retired, and we'll have a good part of that ceremony for you. Brent Musburger and Peter King in our studio as well on our Toyota halftime report. It's going to be quite a scene at Giant Stadium. Wellington Mara and Bob Tisch, the co-owners of the New York Giants, ready to take part in the ceremony. Giants from the 5. And Dave Brown will sling it to the far side, and the catch at the 21 is made by Chris Callaway. A beauty.
A beauty is right.
An impossible beauty.
Callaway has become such an acrobatic receiver, exhibiting marvelous body control on the sideline, and this is an excellent example of it. Look at the throw, look at it, the catch with the fingertips, and then keeping his body and feet in bounds. Look at that catch by Callaway.
Got it backhanded too. That's not easy.
Good stuff.
Got the left knee down first to stay in bounds. Brown. And again, Sherrard this time in where the spot Callaway was. The crowd wants Malik Boyd to be flagged, but there's no penalty.
Nor should there have been.
Yep. Ball up at the 35. A minute to go in the half. Taylor awaiting the ceremony. A flag is down. Chris Lewis to the 41-yard line, but a marker is down. Two markers, in fact, at the line of scrimmage. One on either side. So somebody, I think, lined up offside or was in motion or moving.
No.
Offsides. Number 93 defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
I think he said 92.
No, I think he might have said 93. It might have been John Randall who jumped across. One of the defensive tackles was in the neutral zone. Take a look. Oh, it's number 97. It's Henry Thomas who's actually across the ball. Number 97.
First down at the 41. Giants have 2 timeouts left. Brown, as Roy Barker got there, got just enough of his arm to create a situation where the arm was coming forward and the pass is incomplete.
Barker takes the corner and, like all good defensive ends are taught to do, reach out and touch someone. And that's exactly what he does. And Brown, with the good forward arm movement, ends up with an incomplete pass rather than a fumble. Checks in the mail, right?
Yeah. Brown's trying to call him collect next time. 2nd and 10. Catch is made at the 36-yard line. This is Arthur Marshall making his first reception of the evening. Takes it to the 34. It's going to be 3rd down and 3.
Dave Brown doing a little Phil Simms impersonation here.
The Giants have 2 field goal kickers, a short one and a long one. But a big conversion needed here, and they get it to the 23. It's Arthur Marshall. That's a first down. The Giants take a timeout, and they'll have 1 remaining.
And they're into Treadwell territory. He is the short kicker for the Giants.
Oh, this crowd gives Dave Brown a nice hand, and deservedly so. What a good-looking drive he put together.
A couple of great out patterns. You saw a good look at a powerful arm. Those deep out patterns.
Boy, how many times you see it? A team with under a minute to go, they start playing a little soft. There's a good look at what the opponents of the Vikings have not done, and that is not score a single point on a drive that started inside the 20-yard line. And Dave Brown is about to try to get a drive going here that could change that.
Meanwhile, Arthur Marshall had caught 2 passes all season, and now he's caught them on back-to-back plays.
Marshall came this year from the Denver Broncos. It was Danny Reeve who developed him there as a free agent. Giants would certainly like to, looking at David Treadwell, he's a short kicker for the Giants, but they would certainly like to think touchdown before they start thinking field goal.
At the 23, this drive commenced at the Giants 6. Brown, the catch is made at the 3. Chris Callaway reaching up, calling it in a beauty.
Well, 2 great catches by Callaway on this drive.
1st and goal. Let's see if Brown stops the clock here, and he does with 10 seconds and conserves that 1 remaining timeout. Beautiful.
Well, the Giants' offensive line may not have been getting a lot of good work done in the running game, but on this drive, have they been exemplary in protecting Brown. Plenty of time to look downfield. He's got the good sight lines, and look at Callaway go up. We have seen some beautiful catches here by the Giant receivers on this drive.
10 seconds will be interesting, this call. Danny Reeves calls these plays, by the way, direct to Dave Brown from the sidelines.
2nd and goal. Brown has thrown for 91 yards on this drive. 10 seconds and a timeout remaining, and it's a quarterback draw for the touchdown.
Oh, there's a fine.
Oh, you know what? It hit the net and came back down.
Just got it back.
Dave Brown threw the ball up in the stands, and I don't think he realized the net was up, and the ball came bouncing back.
Oh,
that might have saved him a few bucks.
Dave Brown is 6'5", 225 pounds. He's a fine athlete, and that was an excellent call by Dan Reeves.
Fabulous. What a drive.
Talk about a confidence builder for a quarterback, and boy, that has to hurt the Vikings defensively, playing so well, and then they go soft and give up that drive to the Giants in the last minute of the half. That hurts.
Extra point by Treadwell ties it. Well, if he develops into something special, that's a milestone drive. That was a beauty.
He has thrown some balls tonight that are all pro caliber, and particularly on that drive where we think back to earlier in the 1st quarter when he had a man in his face and drilled one of the sidelines. And again, Dave Brown There's a big man, and that is a good call down there close to the end zone.
Big block by William Roberts, and then Meggetts and Brian Williams get Jack Del Rio out of the way. Boy, that's good work inside by the Giants offensive line. Brown's not challenged until he's already into the end zone, and even then, the only thing that challenges him is the turf.
And think about Brown on this drive. Pinpoint passing, precision, converting, rushes for the touchdown, and does everything a smart quarterback does. Gets down there with 10 seconds, throws the ball down, saves his last timeout. Perfect.
And they will come out in the third quarter with the win. And the Vikings will go in wondering what happened.
There's big William Roberts. Guy who exhibited tremendous dance moves after the Giants won a Super Bowl out at the 50-yard line when the game was over. Seems hard to believe that he's already been here 10 years. #1 draft choice back in '84.
Well, that drive, as if this crowd needed to be stirred up for the Lawrence Taylor ceremony.
Oh, yeah.
This crowd is really alive now, and Luiso sends it 7 yards deep, and Ismail will down it there.
Boy, what a weapon he is. With the wind, he is.
You know what,
perfect.
Though? Ismail should have run that ball out.
Why not?
7 seconds left in the halftime. What's the use of downing it in the end zone? Hey, take off with it. Who knows what might happen?
An NFL record, I believe.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's happened before.
106.
Abe Woodson at 106 years ago.
Roy Green had one 106 against the Cowboys.
He won't that many opportunities.
When he was playing with the Cardinals.
At the 20, Warren Moon will take a knee, and that'll do it for the half.
What a fountain of information we are.
Oh, yeah.
Not much of it's accurate, but we've got plenty of it.
Font of misinformation.
I grew up on that.
I hear you. End of a good half and a great ceremony coming up at halftime. Lawrence Taylor, number 56, to be retired. The crowd is already chanting LT, LT. And they could be chanting DB, DB. Dave Brown Engineering beauty.
Oh, for a minute I thought you said DD. I was getting excited.
Yeah, right.
AM.
10-10 at the half. Stick.
Quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. From our studios in New York, your host, Brent Musburger.
The Minnesota Vikings have to be a little uneasy. They have lost 4 in a row to the Giants, and in each of their last 3 losses, they have averaged no more than 13 points. What a great call that was by Dan Reeves. Those of you who have watched him coach in Denver remember John Elway running this play out of the shotgun. This time, it was the young Giant quarterback, Dave Brown, crashing in. So now, the Meadowlands is alive with that late touchdown. But, folks, you haven't heard anything yet. Wait until they take down number 56. Let's go back to the Meadowlands and Al Michaels. Al?
Well, Brent, the ceremony taking place here tonight could very well have occurred at the Superdome in New Orleans, but it isn't. Because in 1981, the Saints chose running back George Rogers with the first pick in the draft, and that left Lawrence Taylor available for the Giants. That season, the rookie from North Carolina propelled the club to the playoffs for the first time in 18 years. And by the time his magnificent 13-year career would end, he'd wear 2 Super Bowl rings and be regarded as arguably the greatest defensive player ever. As the years progressed and he fought his way through substance abuse troubles that nearly short-circuited his career and fought his way past left tackles and tight ends, his image of the last angry man was transformed into an ethereal one, almost as if he had dropped in from another world. And maybe he did, because no one dominated a game and no one redefined a position more than a man known primarily by the initials LT. In a word, he was relentless. What DiMaggio and Mantle were to the Yankees, what Gershwin was to Broadway, is what Lawrence Taylor has been to the Giants. And that's why right now in Giants Stadium, they'll immortalize him.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 56, Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence, LT, there's nothing I can say to add to this moment. Your fans have said it all. They've spoken for all of us. But for 13 years, you've brought great honor to this jersey. Take care of it, and no Giant will ever wear it again.
You know, I should be nervous, but I'm not, because I'm in my house. I'm with my friends. You know, this is one of the 3 proudest moments I've ever had in Giants Stadium. One being in 81, when we beat the Dallas Cowboys to go to our first playoff in 20 years. Number 2, been in 1987, when we beat the Washington Redskins in the playoff game, goes our first Super Bowl. And now today, they have my jersey retired. Great moments. There's a lot of people I'd like to thank. Of course, I'd like to thank Mr. Mara for always being there for me like a father, and his family, who treated me like one of the members of their family. Also, I would like to thank Mr. Tisch for all his wisdom he's shown me over the last 3 years. I would like to thank Bill Parcells. I would like to thank Bill Parcells for being such a big part of my life and showing me how to play the game of football correctly. And I'd like to thank my family and my friends for always being there for me. But this is not about Mr. Mara and all the other people I have recognized today, even though their contributions have been great. This is about me and you, the Giant fans. Because you've always been there, no matter what was said, no matter what was written, no matter what was going on in my personal life, we've always been in this thing together. Without you guys, there wouldn't have been a Lawrence Taylor, but there wouldn't have been an LT. Thank you very much.
Lawrence Taylor owns Giant Stadium one final time. We'll be back.
Welcome back to our New York studios with Peter King of Sports Illustrated. I'm Brett Musburger. Peter, Lawrence Taylor was something. Where does he stand historically with the great linebackers?
Brent, I think because in his prime, he was equally adept at stopping the run and stopping the pass. I think there's no question he's got to be considered the best linebacker, if not defensive player, ever.
Now, tomorrow's a trading deadline at 4 o'clock. Any action out there?
Well, Brent, I talked to 6 general managers today, and it is dead. It's absolutely dead. I think at most, because of the cap problems, if you trade for a guy, you got to fit him right under your cap. Everybody's snug up against the cap right now. I think the only possibility right now of a name player is maybe Chicago running back Tim Worley for a late-round draft pick.
Now, Merrill Hodge, weren't you telling me he's got a physical problem that'll leave them awfully short-handed?
Brent, 8 days ago, Merrill Hodge suffered a severe concussion against the Bills, and I talked to Merrill for a long time today. Very, very concerned about his future. He's going to see some neurologists in the next couple of weeks and talk to Al Toon and Roger Staubach, whose careers ended because of concussions, and I don't think he's ever going to play football again.
Peter, the players have been very critical of the league's drug rules. So you're telling me there's a chance for a change there?
Brent, by the end of this month, there will be a new NFL drug policy in place, and it will basically change what happens if a player is found to have violated the drug policy twice. Under the current conditions, if he violates it twice, he is suspended without pay. Now, what they're talking about is suspending him, is not suspending him, but taking away his money for those 2 or 4 weeks, and allowing him to continue to play, protecting the player's privacy.
Yeah, that'd be a big change. Well, coming up now is the second half, and as you can imagine, the Meadowlands will be alive. The Lawrence Taylor ceremony is over, but not the game. We'll continue.
The Toyota Halftime Report has been brought to you by Toyota Trucks, with a reputation for dependability that grows with every year. We'll be back with the second half kickoff after this from our ABC stations.
Ready to start the second half. And Quad Reves to kick off for Minnesota. So the Giants will get the ball first in the third quarter. And Dave Meggett accepts it at the 6-yard line behind a phalanx of blockers. Takes it back out to the 25, and Todd Scott makes the tackle there. That's where Dave Brown, who engineered that gorgeous drive at the end of the first half, will begin the first drive of the third quarter.
Talk about a major league turn of events for the Giants. Trailing 10-3, Minnesota was driving with the ball. Looked like the possibility they'd get a field goal or a touchdown, take either a 13-3 or 17-3 lead, and lo and behold, they hold and then come all the way back to tie it up.
Rather impressive numbers for the young quarterback. That interception was off a deflection.
Brown throws a wobbler and nearly a beautiful one-handed catch by Aaron Pierce, but not quite. By the way, if you're wondering why the Giants received again, when Minnesota won the toss to start the game, they elected to defend a goal because of the wind.
Exactly what they did a year ago in the playoff game. And what an effort by Pierce. Another 6'5", 250-pound tight end. Giants have 3 of them.
Ball up at the 25-yard line, second down and 10. Little shovel pass, Dave Meggett, and he squirts his way out to the 29. Just as a point of information, we were talking about longest kickoff return at the end of the first half. That Woodson kickoff was actually only 105 yards. It stood for a long time. Dan?
Al Carmichael, an old teammate of mine from USC, those Green Bay Packers, did that. I should remember that.
106 yards. Nolan Smith of Kansas City, 106. And Roy Green, most recently, St. Louis against Dallas in 1979.
And it was 106?
Yep. You got it.
Not all the brain cells are dead.
Trip to Hawaii. 3rd and 6. Gary Downs is in the game, the third down back. Rookie from North Carolina State, and we've got a whistle before the snap. Henry Thomas had come across.
And talking about Thomas and John Randall, those 2 hyperactive tackles for the Minnesota Vikings, they cause all sorts of havoc Thomas with 3 sacks, Randall with 4.5. They have been pretty neutralized tonight. They have been effectively handled by Williams, Smith, and Roberts in the middle.
Encroachment, number 97 defense, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
But Henry Thomas and John Randall can take over a ball game. They can be that disruptive, and this has been a very credible job done by the Giants up front in kind of neutralizing these guys. That's about the best you can hope for.
They took it over a lot easier last year when they had Chris Dolman.
Yeah, well, Dolman
got
supplied the pressure off the corner that they're not getting this year out of Harris and Barker.
3rd and 1, a 3 tight end set for the New York Giants. And they give it to Hampton behind Rashid, and there's enough leverage there for Rodney to pick up the 1st down up at the 37-yard line. And let's check in our first time tonight with Lynn Swan. Lynn, what's happening?
Al, at halftime, I talked to Dave Brown, and I asked him about that touchdown. He said it's about time in reference to being able to throw the football. Dan Reeves said they can't run the football. They're going to put the ball in the air, try and put the ball in the air on 1st and 2nd down to stay away from the 3rd and long situations. The Minnesota Viking defense is just making it too tough for them to move it on the ground. So look for them to put the ball in the air early. Al?
And they've been averaging, Lynn, less than 2 yards per rush. So they'd be well advised with Dave Brown on 1st down, doing it right here and having it picked off. Intercepted by Anthony Parker. Touchdown. Well, the best laid plans just went down the drain.
And that's that zone coverage. Parker had deep coverage. Again, Brown looking to the receiver, locking his eyes with him, and
he threw it
Parker's got nothing to do but sit there and look at the quarterback. He's got deep coverage, and now he's looking right in at Dave Brown. Looking right in, bang.
Well, Sherrard's the receiver, but the ball, not only did Brown look at him, Frank, the ball was thrown way behind Sherrard. Sherrard couldn't even turn around and get a hand on the ball to try to become the defender and knock it away from Parker.
Well, 2 consecutive games in a row that Dave Brown has thrown an interception that's been returned for a touchdown.
44-yard return. Reves for the point after. That's Parker's 2nd career touchdown. In '92, he scored on a fumble return. And here he gives the Vikings a 7-point lead.
There will be growing pains.
Giant Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Dierdorf. Lynn Swan on the sidelines. Just got finished telling us about the Giants throwing on 1st down, and that's exactly what they did. And then Parker runs it in for the touchdown, and the Vikings have the lead, 17-10.
For Dan Reeves, I think when you come back on offense, you go right back out there. Don't change anything. This is your quarterback. He's going to be your quarterback for a lot of years. I'm sure that's what we'll see.
Reves sends a bouncer to the 10-yard line. Thomas Lewis, the Indiana rookie, brings it back to the 29. 19-yard return. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Cold Filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old and get into the cold. The totally new Ford Contour. A world of par for the 21st century. And Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered.
Well, I don't know how they've got to go about it, but if the Giants are going to win this ball game, they have to run the football. They just have to.
And here's Hampton. For the first time tonight, he has a little bit of room to roam and takes it up to the 37-yard line. Dwayne Washington forces him out at that spot, a pickup of close to 8.
Just can't fall back and give up on the run entirely and think that Dave Brown is going to pass you to victory by throwing it for the entire 3rd and 4th quarter. It's just not going to happen, at least not with any consistency. The Giants beat people by playing tough, hard-nosed defense and by running the football. They must run it.
2nd down, short 3 at the 37-yard line. Hampton again to the left side, and the Vikings converge on him. Minimal gain, if any. Fernando Smith, number 95, and James Harris are there on the tackle.
Nifty move by Hampton behind the line of scrimmage. But again, he's not getting the hold for him to make that slashing move that he can do so well. He's having to tiptoe around blocks. He's having to tiptoe around Freeman. Here's a man right in his face across the line of scrimmage. By the time he makes a move, gets back into stride, he's down.
Third and a deuce at the 38, and coming across was Barker. Brown loses the football. It's loose. And this is all for naught. Unless Barker was induced, and Abrams, the former Giant, winds up with the ball at the 26-yard line.
Well, you're right, Al. Barker was definitely across. Right now, the Giants are hoping that he came on his own.
Praying.
There's a little highlight film material there, a little NFL bloopers. I sure didn't see.
There's another blooper.
There's another one. Yeah, well, that can be edited out.
Well, we have video and audio both.
Sure looked like Barker was offsides.
Number 92 defense. Holding. Right tackle offense. Penalties offset. Still third down.
Well, you know, that's a tough deal because Riesenberg is thrown into holding the guy because he jumps offsides. What's Riesenberg going to do? The guy's already passed him. I'd tackle him too, at least keep him from getting to your quarterback. You could run out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
What's the record?
I don't know, but at least 6 people. And the guy who recovered it, so let's guess a minimum of 7 folks had their hands on that ball.
And after all that, we're right back once we began.
But you know what? Riesenberg saved his quarterback from taking a big shot. That's good. You take that penalty.
Third and 2 again from the 38. Brown cannot pick up the first down. Secondary did its job, and then McDaniel and Thomas made sure that Dave did not pick up the 2 yards necessary, and the Giants are forced to kick.
And Dave just a little gun shy. He had an opportunity to get that ball to Callaway. Callaway has broken away from his defender, but Dave Brown was not going to put it up again.
Crescent moon. I guess that's a little bit more than a crescent moon. It's
a little bit more.
Half moon.
It's a fat crescent moon.
Fat crescent moon.
A swollen crescent.
Right here, right here, right here.
Haran to kick. And a fair catch is called for by David Palmer at the 24. So Warren moves, and the Vikings take over there. 11-11 to go in the third after the 37-yard punt. Vikings by 7. Vikings have it at the 24-yard line. They lead by 7. Minnesota coming in with a mark of 3-2, and the Giants 3-1. Dan Reeves, his defensive unit out there right now, as Minnesota has cashed in on a Parker interception to lead by 7. It's Terry Allen up past the 31-yard line. Corey Miller makes the tackle. I'm not sure anybody really keeps a record about things like this, but Terry Allen supposedly is the first professional athlete to have reconstructive surgery done on both knees and come back.
He came back big time this year, too. He missed all of last year. He was hurt in training camp and had the ACL, the reconstruction. He had that as a rookie, missed that year.
It speaks a great deal about Terry Allen and what kind of an individual he is. It's also quite a comment on how far our medical techniques have come in their ability to put a guy back together again.
Third and short. They picked up the first down, and Ismail gets taken down by Jesse Campbell up at the 45-yard line. Campbell's hurt. Or Ismail is hurt. 14-yard gain.
Campbell fell right on that ankle of Ishmael. He almost broke that away.
The Vikings only have 4 receivers in uniform. Ismail's one of them, and the third guy now has to become David Palmer, who's just a rookie. Not a lot of depth at receiver for the Vikings.
Injury timeout. That's about as close as it gets, and the difference right now is that pass interception and return for a touchdown by Parker. Minnesota has gained 3 more yards than the Giants, and they lead by 7. It is 1st and 10 up at the 45-yard line as Warren Moon retreats and throws over the middle, and Terry Allen makes the catch, and that's a little short of the first down. They help Kadri Ismail off the field, and will
he looked to be all right.
Yeah, he was pumping up and down pretty good on the sidelines. I'd be surprised if he didn't come back into the ball game. replenishing the fluids.
Be a good time for the Vikings to think about play action and trying to get a big play from one of their wide receivers.
They have Scotty Graham in the game for the first time tonight. He's the sole setback on 2nd and inches. And they're going to give it to Scotty Graham in his first carry of the night. Nets the Vikings a first down at the 42. Whitmer makes the tackle.
Well, this crowd has been removed from this ball game. The interception that Dave Brown threw has kind of robbed this crowd here of any enthusiasm, and of course maybe they're a little spent from the emotions that they displayed at halftime. But here they come back a little bit. They need to get back in here a little bit.
8:50 to go in the third. 17-10 Minnesota. Here's Scotty Graham again to the outside, and he gets wrestled down at the 39-yard line by Tito Wooten. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by the NASDAQ stock market. The stock market for the next 100 years. The NASDAQ Composite Index closed today at 756.81, up 6.85 points. Good day.
Good day.
Good day.
Thank you, Louis Rukeyser.
You're welcome, Dan Dorfman.
I have more hair than that.
Yeah. 2nd and 8 at the 39. And coverage. Carter looks for the flag and doesn't see one. Corey Raymond with very tight coverage.
One that Carter could have handled. Boone had it in there. But Raymond could have attracted the flag. He had an arm around Carter. But Carter was complaining about that left hand.
Third down and 8. Vikings at the 39. A shade under 8 minutes to go. Third quarter, 17-10. Ismail is back in the game. He slipped to the top of the screen.
The Giants need a biggie here. Come with 4.
There's a flag down. It was thrown in the secondary, and I think we may have a delay here because the play is whistled. There we do. Delay a game. Well, again, when we mentioned it at the very beginning tonight, Warren Moon taking a lot of time at the line, and it cost him 5 here.
Everything with the run and shoot is a sight adjustment. You got to come up and survey the field, and then receiver and quarterback have to get on the same page mentally, and it takes some time, and they purposely use a lot of time to allow everyone to scan the defense. Dennis Green does not like that kind of a tempo for his offense, and he has been hammering Warren to be brisker, to run this thing at a faster pace. And he continually racks up these delay of game penalties. That's number 4 for the year for Warren Moon. And that's just too much for Denny Green.
Fourth time that the Vikings have had a delay of game penalty under these circumstances. Moon throws on 3rd and 13. Ismail makes the catch, but he's 3 yards shy of the first down. And it'll be 4th down coming up.
Well, I thought Marcus Buckley, number 55, was going to get to Moon before he could get that pass away. Buckley coming from the near side on the blitz from the corner. Take a look at the bottom of your screen. He's going to be picked up by the back in the game. That's number 29, Charles Evans. Ooh, and he's just a little late in getting to that right arm of Warren Moon.
Well, the Vikings are going to line up for a 53-yard Quad Reves field goal attempt with Saxon to hold.
I don't think he's ever kicked that.
It'll be the longest in the league this year. It's not even close.
Reves never kicked one that far either.
Well, that's an interesting call in a game where field position is going to assume a little bit more importance. Remember, it comes back to where it was spotted. 7:06 left in the third, and the Giants take over near midfield. Vikings up by 7. The Giants have it at the 43. Curious call there by Dennis Green. Not to punt. He might have been thinking about last year when Reves kicked a 52-yarder in the playoffs here.
Well, it's one of those deals that if they go on and win the game, no big deal. If by chance this ends up going into overtime or they lose it, he's going to have to defend himself to the press.
At the 43-yard line, and Rodney Hampton gets tackled in the backfield by Jack Del Rio.
3-yard loss, 2nd and 13. Tomorrow night, prime time, right here on ABC. There is the lineup. Full house, me and the boys. Home improvement, Grace Under Fire, and NYPD Blue. Blockbuster Tuesday night, followed by that lineup on Wednesday. Prime time right here on ABC. Shotgun now, 2nd and 13. Rodney Hampton has carried 13 times for 27 yards, and that one is deflected by Henry Thomas, who's all over the field.
Well, they do that sometimes is when they come on some kind of a blitz package. They'll drop Henry Thomas back off of the line.
They brought Jack Del Rio there. Then they dropped Thomas off.
And what it is that they're just trading places. It's just a 4-man rush. It's just that Del Rio replaces Thomas, and he goes back there. If Henry would have known that ball was in his vicinity, he had a good chance of intercepting.
3rd and 13, 6:30 to go in the 3rd. Minnesota leading by 7. Brown rolling to buy time. Under pressure now. Fires into traffic, and it's caught up at the 48, but short of the first down. Thomas Lewis double covered there. Parker was covering on the play, and Washington as well. 4th down, and the Giants have to kick.
Giants are getting killed on 1st down, either picking up no yardage, 1 or 2 yards. And on this particular drive, they lost 3 yards on 1st down, got themselves into 3rd and 13. They come up short on the completion. They have to bring the punting unit out. 1st and 2nd downs are killing them, but 1st down has really hurt them.
Well, Dan Reeves obviously unhappy with the pattern run by Thomas Lewis.
Saying, hey, look, you needed more than that for the 1st down. And the kick is a wobbler by Haran, and he hears it from the crowd. It's dead at the 29-yard line. Vikings will take it there with 5:39 to go in the 3rd. Tough game.
Brutal.
Giants offensive coordinator George Henshaw upstairs.
And quarterback coach.
Multiply.
Spent so much time with Dave Brown and working, of course, with Ken Graham. And he calls the plays down, and he sometimes discusses it with Dan Reeves, and Dan Reeves calls the plays in.
Vikings have it at the 30-yard line. And the catch is made by Andrew Jordan, the rookie, up at the 38. Every time I see a shot of somebody on television, and the television, you wonder how many of those you can get before, it's like how big is the universe?
I think it goes into infinity.
That's the definition of it, isn't it?
Yep. Warren moved 17-24. 183. 2nd down and a short 3. Long 2 at the 37. And that's dropped. And had it with a flag down because Corey Raymond made contact after the play.
They will flag you if they feel you take an unnecessary shot at a receiver. Now,
well, that's a close call there.
Whether that was an unnecessary shot or not, I don't know, but that they will call it, and they did call it.
Yeah.
They, being the officials in the NFL, are going to protect receivers who are in a vulnerable position. And they're saying that Raymond could have held up. I can't recall seeing a flag thrown when it's that close. He only took 2 steps and hit the receiver.
And you got an 180-pound back going up against a 260-pound tight end, and that back is thinking about his eligibility for the rest of the year. He's concentrating on the hit.
The purpose of the rule is to protect receivers coming across the middle where a guy takes a 4 or 5 yard run at him and spears him. I don't think that qualifies.
First down at the 47-yard line. Moon, the fake. Then the pass is caught by Andrew Jordan, and that's another first down to the Giant 30, tackled there by Jesse Campbell. That penalty, by the way, was the first against the Giants tonight.
Here's another look at it, but Raymond is already committed to coming up either to hit him or to tackle him. And he's really just stepping over him there. I really don't see that. I think that's
he was
a tough
protecting
call.
himself, I think.
Yeah,
he was taking on a man almost 100 pounds bigger than he was.
Yeah, I mean, he hit him, but this is a game where you're supposed to hit the other guy.
Meanwhile, Warren Moon is hitting all the gaps in that zone.
This play never happened. Flag down. Daphne moved. Number 75.
Well, if the Vikings would go on and score on this drive, Dan Reeves going to have another busy week complaining about the officiating.
False start. Right guard. Moving prior to the snap. 5 yards. Still first down.
Bernard Daphne.
On the left side of the screen, there's the movement. They drew the flag.
4:19 left in the third. Minnesota has the ball and a 7-point lead. First and 15 at the 35-yard line. Allen, room through the middle, takes a shot as he goes down at the 27-yard line. Next week we go to Mile High Stadium in Denver, where the natives will be slightly less restless, you suppose, after the victory yesterday. And John Elway and the Broncos will host Joe Montana and the Kansas City Chiefs next Monday night.
And another visit by Marty Schottenheimer to Mile High Stadium.
And
one of his favorite places.
The former Saint was signed today by Kansas City to provide some receiving help. Here is Allen taking it to the 20-yard line, and that should be enough for a first down. Michael Brooks makes the tackle.
Patience again being exhibited by Warren Moon, and the play calling of the Minnesota Vikings. Brian Billick there, their offensive coordinator. They have really done a nice job of keeping themselves under control, not trying to go over the top, working underneath that giant zone and being content with 7 and 8 yards. Terry Allen, an effective receiver as well as a gifted runner. The Giants need to come up big here, trailing by 7.
Under 3 minutes to go, third quarter, first down, and Warren, with frustration, has to take a timeout.
Running out of time. He only had 2 seconds on the clock, and he knew he couldn't get it off. And again, it's a brand new offense for Warren Moon, even though he's been working on a worked-off season. The terminology is different. The numbering system is different. And as we've already talked about, he's been in that run and shoot so long where he comes up, reads at the line of scrimmage, and now it's altogether different coming out of the huddle. He's just very slow getting it off.
And I'll tell you what else Warren has, guys, as you well know, a feel for the game. He knows what an opportunity that he has in front of him right here. They're up by 7. They're down on the 20-yard line. They've got a chance to take a 14-point lead. And he also knows how difficult that makes it for young Dave Brown and this giant offense to come back. This is not the place where he wants to make a mistake. He'd like to really, really make it tough for these guys.
A couple of big tackles, Riesenberg and Jumbo Elliott trying to get things together at their running game. They have been so frustrated tonight, unable to get anything mounted in the form of a running game. When the Giants can't do that, they really struggle.
From the 20-yard line, pressure on Moon, but he escapes and then throws to the corner of the end zone. And no, Carter was out of bounds. Jesse Campbell with the coverage. Carter in the corner of the end zone. Meanwhile, Strahan put the pressure on Moon, who was able to escape. And Carter, I believe, got 1 foot down.
They're having a discussion
well,
in the end zone.
it again.
They're going to try to determine whether or not he was pushed out of bounds. Remember, if he would have come down in bounds and he's pushed out, it should be a touchdown. Now, that's what they're trying to make a decision on right now. But if one of those guys has a definitive look at it and thinks he would have come down in bounds, they'll rule it a touchdown. Otherwise, it's out.
Rolling on the field. This is a completed forward pass. Receiver is forced out of bounds.
Touchdown.
Tough call, but that is the rule. He comes down with 1 foot in bounds. He is pushed, and they judge that that push kept him from getting that other foot down. Then it's a completion.
Well,
and great presence by Warren Moon here.
The play starts by him getting away from Strahan. The question is whether or not would the left foot have come down in bounds. It's sure tough. Now there he is. Now there is the contact that knocks him out. Whether he would have, who knows? The officials, though, on the spot handled it properly. 5 of them got together. They consulted each other. Rightly or wrongly, depending upon your point of view, they made the decision and gave Carter the touchdown.
Chris Carter is having a Hall of Fame type year. I mean, he's just having a fabulous season. That's 45 catches for him. He's averaging 8 catches a game. He has played absolutely brilliantly this year, and they lead 24. Well, you're speaking of the Hall of Fame.
I remember talking to Buddy Ryan about him when he let him go. He said, well, all he can do is jump in the end zone.
We'll tell that story in a second, but how about Lawrence Taylor, who joins us? Lawrence is in the booth, and here he is. He's behind us. Step on in here. Congratulations to you. So that's terrific. What a night for
You've been after my job for years. Not to mention my wife.
Lawrence, turn around this way. Face the camera.
LT, you got to know where the camera is.
Oh, okay, yeah. Is that what the red light means?
Yeah, that's what it means. That's what it means.
Congratulations, my man.
Thank you. Great night here. I mean, it was a great night.
What separates me from you two guys is that I used to have to try to block this guy. I was still playing when you came in the league, Lawrence.
Yes, you did. Yes, you were.
You took everybody by surprise. When we first saw you as a rookie on film, and we were watching you go sideline to sideline, I'll never forget the first time we came to the ballpark and you came trotting out of the tunnel. We thought that somebody had traded jerseys, because on film you looked so much smaller because of the way you were able to get sideline to sideline. Then we saw you come out at 6'4" and 250, and I'll never forget, we were a little concerned.
You know, I was always fortunate that Bill Parcells, took a liking to me and noticed the talent and used me in a lot of different ways and made me like that prototype linebacker. So I was very fortunate.
Here is Lewis, the rookie, running the kickback. And he gets taken down to the 28. Lawrence, you're in retirement right now. We know you love to play golf, but what about business ventures and all the rest? And we know you're in broadcasting right now and doing a great job on TNT. What's in the future for you?
Well, right now, I have a company, All Pro Products Incorporated, which is doing very well. And also I do, Sunday night football for TNT. But movies. I'm starting my movie career in January, so I'm looking forward to that.
What's your first role, Lawrence?
Yeah, you have a firm commitment?
Actually, I play a retired Treasury agent gets sent to the Bahamas to infiltrate a smuggling ring.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You got any love scenes?
Yes, I do have one. That was a must.
Written into your contract.
Yes, that has to be a must.
Yeah, that's when you want to do take 20, you understand that, right?
I don't know about take 20, man.
Didn't Clint Eastwood do that movie?
Yeah. 2nd and 18, meanwhile, as Henry Thomas just did an LT imitation as he got a sack on Brown. And here's another one. All of a sudden, Lawrence winds up in the booth, and sacks are cheap. It's Randall with the sack that time.
Tell us about these fans, Lawrence. Nobody ever, I think, came as close to them as you did over the years, but they are unique to pro football, aren't they?
Yes, they are. I tell you, the thing I like about this game is every day is different. I mean, you can never. I'm doing TNT football. I look on Sunday night. The favorite lost every week we've done a football game. It's a great game.
3rd down and 25 now for the Giants, and they give it to Meggett, and it will be 4th and a bunch. Del Rio makes the tackle, and the fans are getting a little frustrated here tonight.
Would you ever coach, Lawrence?
No, I don't think I would ever coach, because, I think great players don't necessarily make great coaches because they may expect a little bit too much from their players. So I don't think I would have the patience.
It's a humble way to approach it, too. I might point out.
Yeah. And plus, they don't pay enough.
And there are no love scenes when you're a coach.
The golf tour is a definite priority, though, I'm sure.
Mike Horan will punt, standing in his own end zone, and he gets away a beauty here, and they needed it. It's fielded and dropped, but the Vikings are there to recover it back at the 33-yard line, as Dwayne Washington is able to save the day after it was initially muffed. And it was the rookie Palmer back there dropping it, the Alabama rookie. And then the Vikings, fortunately for them, are back there, and Dwayne Washington, the rookie, recovers at the 32-yard line.
LT, I remember a game one time in St. Louis as we look at some of your numbers here and the one-loss percentage. You hit Neil Lomax so hard that I don't think he recovered for 2 years. He kind of lost his taste for football for a while.
But fortunately, we recovered the ball. George Martin did and went for the touchdown.
Yeah, I know. I was blocking George Martin at the time.
Moon, there's a flag down as there's contact made. Corey Raymond and Jake Reed, and the flag was thrown at about the 40-yard line, and we'll get the call from Tom White.
You hit Lomax so hard, you scared George and I, who were over on the other side, and George spotted the ball before I did, picked it up and ran it in for a touchdown.
But Neil Lomax, what a strong quarterback. The guy, I know that hit you're talking about, I mean, full force, but the guy got up, and I was very surprised and very respectful of Neil Lomax after that play.
Yeah, he got up, but he thought he was back in Portland.
Number 39, 5 yards. That's a first down.
Illegal contact, and that's, well, a manifestation of the new rule here after 5 yards. And you'll see Raymond with a contact, and here's our penalty.
It's kind of a riding and also a grabbing kind of effort on the part of Corey Raymond against a very tall 6'3" Jake Reed.
We've documented it, though. You just can't go beyond that 5-yard zone and keep your hands on a receiver anymore. Times have changed.
Vikings have it at the 37-yard line. Allen, flag comes in. He takes it up to the 40-yard line.
LT, did you get out of this game without any serious injuries? I know about the Achilles and all that, but 10, 15, 20 years from now, or is it going to hurt?
Well, it hurts every day. But I was
on your
very
backswing.
Every time I get up in the morning, it sounds like I'm making popcorn. I mean, but I'm very fortunate. I didn't get in any serious injuries. I had the Achilles, but other than that, I'm fine.
Hey, I tell you how fortunate we were to be around to watch you.
Yeah, I mean that.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Excuse me?
I mean that.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm just happy that your wife was around to watch me.
She loves you too, pal. You know that.
Lawrence,
We'll get into that in the fourth quarter.
It's a cliche, but thanks for the memories.
Thank you
were
very much.
wonderful to watch.
Guys, hey, ABC's wonderful to watch.
Okay.
LT,
Thank you.
Hey, guys.
Good luck to you. Lawrence Taylor, his night, 56. Retired here tonight. The number. And here is, after that defensive holding call and automatic first down, this play is over.
John Booty with the ball, but obviously the ball bounced off the ground and was not a completed pass prior to
one that could have been completed. Reed unable to hold on to it.
First half penalty free, and now we've got flags by the bunch. Dan Reeves was 50 years old at the start of the night, and I think he's about 64 at the moment.
He just, you know, we've talked about it. He has a football team that has to run the football to be successful.
Here's Allen on 2nd and 10.
If the Giants, now, you know, let's give Rodney Hampton benefit of the doubt. He's bound to be rusty. Hasn't played football in over 3 weeks because missing a couple games, a bye week factored in there. He will get better and become more productive. But his blocking up front has got to get better, or the Giants are in for a long year. Without running the football effectively, the Giants are a 500 ball club.
That is the end of the third quarter with the Vikings on top 24-10, and Monday Night Football returns after this from our ABC station.
Murphy reports to you tonight, News 10 Sports.
Fourth quarter, Giants Stadium. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Dierdorf. Vince Swan on the sidelines. Vikings have it. 3rd down and 7 at their own 45. They lead by 14. And Warren Moon going deep for Condrey. Down in front. He makes the catch, and he's to the 10-yard line. And the pass was a little underthrown. Otherwise, he was gone.
Well, it was a good move by Ishmael to the inside. The Giants went with it all the way, but great protection for Warren Moon. When you get that kind of time, you can do most anything you want. Ishmael comes downfield, gives it a little juke to the inside.
Pretty tough to tell what kind of coverage Felipe Sparks was attempting to put on Ishmael.
Well, he's going to have deep coverage behind you, but he's got to, when they come into your zone, you got to pick the man up.
45 yards. It is first and goal. The ball just inside the 10-yard line. They give it to Allen. He cuts it back and takes it down to the 7-yard line. And he is brought down there by Corey Miller. Second and goal. But, you know, the NFL is so funny these days. We do the 49ers on opening night. They look like one of the great teams of the century, and they're struggling. Then you've got the Giants, and all of a sudden they're 3-0, and everybody's saying, hey, wait a minute, look at this team. They lose to New Orleans. Now they're on the verge of going to 3-2.
I think free agency has taken away the depth that the best teams in the league used to have. The 49ers are the best example of that, where they lose their offense. They just don't have anybody to replace them like they used to. And you're right. This is the era of equality in the National Football League.
And Jake Reed had it right there and couldn't hold on.
Well, that's a couple now Jake Reed should have had. They're waiting for him to develop into a counterpart to Chris Carter on that other side, and that was one that Jake Reed should have caught. Had a little something on it. Warren Moon taking no chances with it, but how much better can he throw it?
Well, last week, Reed dropped an easy touchdown pass, and they came back on the very next play and called the same play, and he made the catch.
That's a clean whiff there, though. That's
send him to the optometrist. Third down and goal. Moon looks the other way and too high. Jake Reed was the intended receiver there. And they'll have to settle for a field goal attempt. Randolph with the coverage. You know, we were talking about teams and how crazy it's been. This Kansas City was 3-0, and they look so great. Now, all of a sudden, they can't score. Meanwhile, the Chargers just keep rolling along, 5-0. Big win yesterday over Kansas City.
Giants get out of this. Luckily, if they get out with 3 points, they'll have the wind behind them for the fourth quarter in their comeback attempt. But as we said earlier, they're not noted as one of the great comeback types of offenses.
24-yard attempt by Reves is good. Watt adds a tray. 13:20 to go in regulation. 27-10, Minnesota.
They actually put an inflatable dome over Giants Stadium during that last commercial break, and that's the new look.
As I said, you blew it up.
It's not. No. Actually, that's the Giants indoor practice facility, which sits adjacent to Giants Stadium.
Reves sends a bouncer down to the 16, where Thomas Lewis comes to the near side and has some room. And is spun down finally at the 44 by Qadri Ismail. Good run back. But the Giants are down by 17 with 13:05 to play.
The Chiefs and the Broncos have mile-high fight. We're gonna rock the Rockies here on Monday night.
Jim Maloney is piloting the Goodyear blimp Stars and Stripes, hovering above East Rutherford, New Jersey, home of Giants Stadium. Good college football action this week in the Eastern and Central time zones. Your days begin at 12 noon Eastern, 11 Central. Auburn, Florida, Ohio State, Michigan State, Nebraska, Kansas State regional action. Then the whole country will see Penn State, Michigan, the key game of the day at 3:30 Eastern. And then on the West Coast only, SC and Stanford at 4 o'clock Pacific is the second half of your doubleheader. The Giants have a 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line, and Dave Brown drops it up underneath to Gary Downs, the rookie from North Carolina State. And he is close to a first down. He is down at the 45-yard line. Dwayne Washington there with the coverage.
Dan's been talking about how Warren Moon has to be patient going against the Giants defense. The same is true for the Giants, because they're looking at almost a mirror of what they do defensively, and that is a drop back zone with the defensive backs playing the quarterback. Has been very effective for them tonight. That time they threw underneath. They got good yardage out of it.
Enough for a first down at the 46-yard line, and we have a stoppage here, and the Vikings take a timeout.
That's their first charge timeout.
Vikings got the wrong people out there, and they knew it.
12:29 left in the fourth. Minnesota 27 and the Giants 10. 25th anniversary season of Monday Night Football. Our sole trip this year to the Meadowlands.
And the Giants are down by 17. First and 10 for New York at the Minnesota 46-yard line. Brown flings it out incomplete, intended for Chris Callaway. Second and 10. Well, the Giants looked so good at the end of the first half. Dave Brown engineering a gorgeous 94-yard drive and got them even at halftime, but that interception on the first series of the third quarter was a killer.
For the second week in a row, an interception run back for a touchdown has been the stake through the heart of the New York Giants. We used the phrase growing pains, and that's what you're going to have with a new guy.
On second and 10, the catch is made at the 40-yard line by Arthur Marshall. That's a 6-yard pickup. He's tackled by Anthony Parker, the man who ran the interception back for the touchdown.
Danny Reeves had hoped to get the ball to his #1 draft pick, Thomas Lewis, a little more than he has tonight. Using him in the 4-receiver set as we look at it now.
3rd and 4 at the 40. Brown dances to buy time, and then catch is made at the 27. Chris Callaway is able to pluck it before it hits the turf and convert for a first down. 13-yard gain.
That's another fine catch by Callaway tonight.
Giants, with time at a premium now, are going to go without a huddle, and this play is over before it starts as James Harris came flying across the line.
Yeah, that's one of those deals that if they determine the guy has a free shot at the quarterback, they'll just blow the play dead.
Offsides. Number 99, unevaded to the quarterback. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Well, Anthony Parker, a cornerback for the Vikings, has come off the field. Their starting left cornerback holding his arm as if his shoulder might have been damaged. We placed him with Boyd, Malik Boyd. It shouldn't take the Giants long to find that.
1st and 5 at the 22-yard line. And Brown. Ooh, does he take a shot at the 12-yard line? Del Rio and Jenkins.
Ooh. Boy, linebackers love to see that.
Well, Carlos Jenkins is a linebacker who can cover a lot of ground in a hurry, and I think Dave Brown misjudged how quickly Jenkins could get there.
Dave Brown's big, 6'5", 225, didn't even bother him.
First down from the 12, and the catch is made by Thomas Lewis.
There's a flag back at the line of scrimmage.
Giants will not have a touchdown.
Oh, boy.
Ryan Williams, the center.
Boy, there was a pinpoint throw by Dave Brown.
And a fine catch by the rookie, Lewis.
Holding. Number 59 offense. 10 yards. Still first down.
Lewis keeping himself alive.
Boy, that's
beyond the linebacker, and boy, that takes a big play back. Brian Williams, the center.
What a superb throw by Dave Brown. Look at that. Boy, it's tough to see one negated like that. Brian Williams, the center, flag for the hold. They'll try it again.
1st and 20 now. Set up a screen to the left side, and it's incomplete. It's probably the best thing that could happen to him, too. Almost picked off by James Harris.
I'm not even sure Harris knew he touched the ball.
The 3rd down and 20 with 10:47 remaining in the 4th quarter.
Brown working off to his left, and Harris actually pivoting around out there. Goes back. Well, he did. That was a conscious effort, and that was good work there by James Harris. 6'6", and he used it all there.
2nd and 20. Over the middle, the catch is made by Dave Meggett. And he gets popped at the 16-yard line. Del Rio the first to get him.
Boy, Meggett's got a lot of strength for a little guy, doesn't he? I mean, he takes big hits and still stays on his feet. He's the kind of a guy you'd think would get bounced around in there a lot, but a lot of times it's the guy who hit him, who hits him that bounces off.
57 attempts over the last 3 games when Hampton is out. That's a lot of goes for a little man.
3rd and 14. They have to get to the 2 to convert, and Brown throws, and the catch is made at the 5 by Arthur Marshall.
So now Dan Reeves has to decide. They need 3 scores any way you look at it, even with a 2-point conversion rule. Down by 17. Somewhere along the line you need a field goal. But the Giants will go for it here. They're going to try to get into the end zone.
But somewhere along the line you need a couple touchdowns too.
No question.
And this might be their best shot at a touchdown. They can get a field goal attempt from farther out.
4th and 3 from the 5. Trying to stay in the game. And Brown throws, and it's batted at the line of scrimmage, and the Vikings will take over. Might have been Harris.
Brown trying to get the ball to Megan. Megan was uncovered and open. Big series for James Harris. The second deflected pass. Loops back to the inside. Gets it again with his right hand. A total rejection. It's a bad habit for a quarterback to get into throwing sidearm when you go right up the middle. Look at that sidearm throw. No elevation on the ball at all. And that thing actually hits James Harris in the middle of the forearm. Dave Brown has a sidearm delivery that he uses periodically, and Frank, it's awful congested in the middle to throw it like that.
Well, he's 6'5", but Harris is 6'6". Here is Allen picking up about 4, taking it out to the 9-yard line. A little frustration sets in here. Corey Miller was involved initially in the skirmish.
Giants, their defensive meetings, coach yells Corey, 3 different guys jump up. What are the odds of having Corey Miller, Corey Widmer, and Corey Raymond, all spelled C-O-R-E-Y, on the same defensive team?
There's been a burst of Corey pop into the NFL over the past few years. That's what we're reduced to, I guess, in the 27-10 game. But Steve Hurt came up with the information that the only Corey in the NFL for years was Walt Corey, now the defensive coordinator of Buffalo. But here are the guys now since 1991, and all I can tell you is that, you know, when parents were having children in the 60s, that became a very popular name. There are all the Coreys in the National Football League.
That is what we're down to.
3rd down and 5 at the 10-yard line. Moon hits Ismail, and he's taken out of bounds by Beeman after he picks up a 1st down with 8:10 to play.
Warren Moon is going to be 39 years old next month, and he is playing good football.
Playing like a 12-year-old.
Said that at the very top of the show. He's playing like a kid again. But, you know, he's never really been hurt badly. As much as he's played, as many shots as he took in the run and shoot defense, he has never had any serious injuries. In great condition, stays that way.
You know, Frank, by my calculation, in two years, Warren Moon and Al will be the same age.
Oh, get out of here. Al Jolson. Here is Allen up to the 34-yard line. And in 2 more years, Warren Moon will be older than Al.
It is what he is.
Al's in a hold. He and I went to the same high school, and he graduated a couple of years before I did.
Now, is Moon 30?
He's 37. You're thinking of Sims. You're thinking of Phil Sims now. Who's what? Phil's 39.
I hate it when I do.
Would be.
So Moon's going to be 38 instead of 39.
That's exactly right.
You know, listen at the top of the show, you would have known he was 37.
The point.
I must have been very riveting in the team.
Here's Allen.
Frank, you know how long ago that was? That was almost yesterday.
Pickup of 6. Well, nothing like opening up with an Oops Award, huh?
The point is, the guy is, it's remarkable how well he's conditioned himself, how he stays healthy, and how he has absorbed a new system moving over to the Vikings in a very short period of time. Because face it, what he's doing now bears no resemblance to the run and shoot that he ran for years in Houston. There aren't that many guys that could do it as easily as he's done.
Now refresh your mind again, Dan. He said in the opening that the one thing he wanted that he hasn't got out of football was a Super Bowl. Terry Allen gets buried by Corey Widmer. And with 3rd and long here,
The Giants will take a timeout. They have to conserve the clock as much as possible with 6:13 remaining. Well, we haven't had an animation here in a few weeks, but our crack crew has been working on. I haven't seen this one yet, so we'll just have to play along here. Oh, we've got Moon. We've got Warren playing the role of an astronaut. Okay. All right.
Obviously a little expense in this one.
7th quarterback in NFL history to throw for more than 35,000 yards. It's approximately 20 miles.
Are they going to roll Canada into this?
Okay.
No. How many yards did he have up in Canada?
Well, yeah, he had enough so that he's got, I think, 55,000 and change at this point.
So he had another, what, 21 or 22,000 up there?
In that neighborhood. 3rd down and 9 at the 35-yard line. And here's Jake Reed making the catch, taking it out to the 48. So the Giants took that time out and then needed to hold, and they can't.
Boy, that'll make Jake Reed's plane ride home a lot better. He's dropped a couple tonight. Dropped one for 6 points earlier. The Vikes had to settle for 3. This time he looks it right into the hands, working against Sparks. Clutches it to the chest.
Well, and I think that's a sight that Giants fans are going to get used to seeing, because a couple of kids playing corner, everybody in the league is going to go after them. And it's, again, going to be a learning experience, a learning curve. And the same growing pains they're going to have with Brown at quarterback.
This entirely new secondary from last. Mark Collins is gone, the left cornerback. Over in the right corner was Perry Williams. He's retired.
Greg Jackson is
Myron Guyton's up with Bill Parcells in New England, and Jackson is gone. So they have a brand new secondary.
Giants will head west next week. They'll play the Rams in Anaheim Sunday. The Vikings are off next weekend, and then they'll play a Thursday night game on the 20th against Green Bay in the Metrodome. Vikings will be going to 4-2. It's 2nd down and 9, and Terry Allen, having a nice second half, is almost to a 1st down, and perhaps he is there. We'll take a look at the spot at the 42-yard line.
We see the Vikings, our last Monday night game of the year, the day after Christmas, as they play host to the San Francisco 49ers at the Metrodome.
Game that could have a great deal of meaning.
You would think so.
Terry Allen coming out. He plays so big, particularly for a man who went through knee reconstruction his 2nd time. He had a 1,200-yard season in '92, and of course lost all of last year with the knee, and he's back as good as ever.
Scotty Graham assumes the workload here. Well, this game turned on an interception by Anthony Parker in the 3rd quarter. Early in the 3rd quarter, the Giants had it. The game was tied. Parker ran it in, and the Vikings from that moment have dominated the 2nd half, and they lead by 17.
That's like last week's game did for the Giants. Just happened almost the same time. There's the way a Giants lead against New Orleans, and they never got back into it.
Take a look at how productive the Minnesota defense is in scoring points. 13 defensive touchdowns in 38 games. Now that's 1 every 3 games that they get a defensive score. That is big time. Over the same period of time, Kenny Wolf, our producer, is informing us that the Giants have a total of 2 in 38 games.
Viking defense was the #1 in the league last year, and over the years they have been, as we look at Tony Dungy, who had great
credit where credit
career
is
at
due.
Pittsburgh, and he's put it all together. But even before he got there, the Vikings were noted for their defense as much as anything else.
2nd down and 8, and Robert Smith takes it down to the 31-yard line.
When you're talking about a defensive score every 3rd game, it's not just the 7 points that goes on the scoreboard. It's the demoralization that takes place at the same time. It is a back-breaking experience for an offensive football team to have the defense score on you. psychologically, it's really, really a killer.
And that was never more pertinent than tonight. I mean, tonight, that's the game tonight.
It's more than just points.
What we're looking at right now is not too healthy for a ball club either. First, he got to get the ball back, 31.
Well,
here's
Smith
grinding it out
for 5. Keith Hamilton makes the tackle.
Robert started all the way back at the 5-yard line.
Yeah. I think Robert Smith, the guy who just carried there, the former #1 draft choice out of Ohio State, I think he had a tough year last year. He had chicken pox, kept him out. He had an inner ear infection that kept him out. And then he had knee surgery that cost him the season. Now, that's a load for 1 year.
Well, he was out. He wasn't active last week with a bruised hip.
Second and 6. 2:30 to go. As Graham gets bent over the 24-yard line. So the Vikings will go home with a record of 4-2. Have the bye week. Clock will stop here.
We're tied with Chicago. Chicago right there, 4-2 now.
4-2, yep. And well, at the beginning of the show, I think the question was posed: are the Vikings a good team, or are they one of the elite teams? They might be like right in between that area. They're not quite ready. I think to jump to the top, and they're a little bit better than you know, a team that's going to win 9 or maybe 10 games. But Dennis Green trying to keep them on that right track, and I think the key for the Minnesota Vikings is going to be the defensive unit. I mean, offensively they're going to do enough things to win a few games, but they're built around their defense.
They got it back together again a little bit tonight. They had 6 sacks against Detroit 4 games ago. Then they went up against was in the third game of Chicago. They got 3 sacks, and then they played Miami. They had 1 sack, and then they lost at Arizona. They had 1 sack, and tonight they got it back together a little bit defensively. And they're going to be a definite force, particularly in that Central Division of the NFC.
Nothing new about that look at the NFC Central, though. That's the way that thing looked for years. Contested between Chicago and Minnesota.
3rd down and 2 at the 23-yard line. And Robert Smith will get stacked up at the line of scrimmage as Corey Widmer makes the stop. And the clock will stop at the 2-minute warning. It'll be 4th down and a long 2 for the Minnesota Vikings, who have this one well in hand. Minnesota 27 and the New York Giants 10.
Fourth down. Obviously, someone who hasn't been watching the game tonight.
Yeah. But we're to the point now where our crowd mics are picking up individual comments.
We may be able to shake hands with the folks that are left in Giant Stadium when this game is over.
Well, it's 4th down and 2 at the 2-minute warning, and the Vikings will not opt for a 40-yard field goal attempt. And that's one of the things, one way you could get really hurt. You could get it blocked and have a run back, so why do it? I'm certainly not going to think punt. So it's 4th down and 2.
You could cut the tension with a knife.
Yes. And Boone throws, and it is deflected and intercepted at the 15 by Jarvis Williams. And it's one of those plays where the interception actually cost you a few yards. Knocked that down, he'd been better off.
Warren's not happy about that. That's an INT that goes on his record. And you hate in a game where you've got it wrapped up and put away, you hate to stick another INT in that column over there.
I'd have felt his receiver could have got in there and hustled a little bit more for it. Fought for it a little bit.
Well, it's a pretty good job there of Corey Raymond jumping in front and causing the ball to come back up in the air.
From the 15-yard line, Dave Brown drops it off to Dave Meggett. And Del Rio stays right with him and makes the tackle up at the 29-yard line. Warren Moon pitching another victory. First down with a minute and a half to play. A sack for John Randall, his second.
Randall had 12 and a half sacks from that inside line position a year ago. That's truly remarkable.
Second and 15. A little too high, and Thomas Lewis really pays the price.
And now his partner, Henry Thomas, takes his whack at Dave Brown.
A good way to lose a receiver is to put it up there like that for him. Lewis comes limping back to the huddle.
Third down, 15 at the 25-yard line. And Brown's going to air it out, throws into double coverage, picked off at the 29-yard line. Alec Boyd runs it back to the 45. Boyd, the rookie from Southern University, has officially ended it. Double officially. And that's the third time Brown has been picked off tonight. With 1:03 to go. And we can tell you that Jack O'Hara is the executive producer of ABC Sports. Tonight's game produced by Brooklyn-born Ken Wolf and directed by Craig Janoff. Joey Chavo, our technical director. Jaime Bravo, our associate director. Production manager Mike Webb. Dennis Zabo and Mike Farrell, the tech operations manager. Warren Moon to run the clock out. Freddie King and Brian Gordon assisting so ably. Steve Hurd, our director of information. Our statistician, George Hill. Our spotter, Malibu, Kelly Hayes. Mark Amento, Brian Mogelson, Bill Monahan, Andrea Bryant, Ben Harvey. Our illustrious crew getting ready to pack up and head to the Rockies.
Yeah, the Rockies have got an early snow out there. Ski time coming up. Can't wait to get there.
And Bronco fans got a win last week.
Yeah.
A much needed win for Wade Phillips and John Elway
to go to Denver.
Yep. Elway and Montana is the matchup next week. You see Dan Reeves' old club. But Dan's got some work to do right now with the New York Giants, who started 3-0 and have now gone to 3-2 as Dennis Green's Vikings head home for the bye week with a mark of 4-2 and tied with Chicago for first place in the NFC Central Division. Minnesota wins it by a score of 27-10, and we'll talk to you next week from Mile High Stadium. It's Kansas City against Denver. And as we leave you, we'll take a brief look again at what made tonight so special, the tribute to Lawrence Taylor. Until next week, it's Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Dierdorf, and Lynn Swan saying good night from the Meadowlands in New Jersey. ABC's NFL Monday Night Football has been brought to you by Dodge. The more things change, the more things look like the new Dodge. American Airlines, something special in the air. McDonald's, what you want is what you get at McDonald's today. And Pennzoil, the motor oil that works like liquid ball bearings. Saturday, ABC's college football kicks off with these regional matchups. Then, in a national game, Penn State battles Michigan, followed on the West Coast by USC at Stanford. Now, except on the West Coast, stay tuned for your late local news and ABC News Nightline over most of these ABC stations. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.
A promotional fee has been paid by Northwest Airlines.
Some people just know how to fly.
left in the first half, and at their own 6-yard line, quarterback Dave Brown proceeded to lead his team downfield in the style of an Elway or Montana. And it was all capped off when he stepped into the end zone. Giants winning the halftime tied at 10.
The 2-minute drill was something that, you know, we had rhythm going there. We mixed it up well, and I felt really comfortable doing that. But, you know, you can't survive in this league going shotgun with 4 wide receivers. We have to establish something else.
After a great drive to end the first half, plus the halftime ceremonies with Lawrence Taylor, you would think that this team would come out in the third quarter and be ready to just take over the ball game. But this definitely turned out to be a tale of 2 halves. The Giants came out in the third quarter, and it was a different team. It all started early in the third quarter. For the 2nd straight week, Brown throws an interception for a touchdown. This time to Anthony Parker, who rambles 44 yards. Vikings take a 17-10 lead. Was that interception pretty much the...
Yeah, that was a big heartbreaker. To see him go in right when we're driving and see him going to score the touchdown was a big letdown for the team.
Yeah, I mean, that's 2 weeks in a row now. You know, I've you know, halftime is an area that you know, either you have momentum, you gain momentum, or you lose momentum. And you know, last week we had the momentum, but I threw the interception and we lost momentum. This week we had a nice 2-minute drill to score at the end, and then we had momentum at halftime, came out, and the interception kind of killed it again.
The team struggled on both sides of the football. 2 areas in particular. Even with Rodney Hampton in the lineup, they still lacked an effective running game. Hampton rushed for 27 yards on 13 carries, and the team could only churn out 37 yards total. The Giants helped out the Minnesota offense also by giving them great field position all evening. Punter Mike Horan remains inconsistent. He punted 6 times with a 35-yard average.
When we lose 2 ball games in a row, the one thing I can do something about is me. And I know I can do a better job, I'm going to do it. And if I don't have players that feel that way, we aren't going to be good. We aren't going to get it turned around. Start pointing fingers. Better not let me see you point some fingers, because you'll be pointing some fingers at some other teammates on some other team.
They'll try to snap their 2-game losing streak on Sunday in Anaheim against the Los Angeles Rams. Reporting from Giant Stadium, Gus Johnson, MSG Sports Desk.
Well, as all of you know, the retirement of the great Lawrence Taylor's jersey number 56 was just about the only high point for the Giants from Monday evening. Gus got to LT just after he'd come off the field following the halftime celebration.
It's been a good run. I was fortunate that I wasn't quite good enough to be the first player picked in '81, so I was the 2nd player pick, and I was fortunate that the Giants picked me because they did a. I couldn't imagine going to a better organization than the New York Giants. The fans have been great because there have been a lot of reasons for them to desert me over the years, but they stayed by me, they stayed behind me, and